Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our permanent new home here in the green heart of England land. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can I just say, it's not so much green as inconvenient.
Why is it inconvenient?
Well, Jeremy, how would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen why you decided to put our tent precisely here?
It is exactly here because this spot is exactly halfway between May's house and Hammond's house. So there is no squabbling over who had the longest commute.
Yes, but your house is just over there. I could see it. Just there.
I haven't got a house. You may remember you blew it up.
Oh, all right, your backup house.
Yeah, your spare house is just there.
Let's not get bogged down with whose house is the nearest.
It's yours. Definitely yours. Is that your cat?
The point is...
Oh, hang on, Jezza, you've got a parcel. No, I can tell there's a man putting one of those I can't be asked to ring the doorbell cards through the letterbox.
The tent is located here, yes, but this is still very much the Grand Tour. The globe is still our playground. This, however, is now, and we have an important job to do, an important question to answer. Which is better, the past, the present, or the future? By which I mean, which is better, petrol power, hybrid power, or electrical power?
Now, to do this, we are going to use the Lamborghini Aventador S, which has a petrol engine and is therefore from the pages of ancient history. And that will be driven by our resident Neanderthal. Representing the present day, we have the Honda NSX, which is a modern hybrid, and that obviously will be driven by somebody crisp and contemporary. Me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I shall be driving something from the future, an all-electric supercar from Croatia.
I don't know how that ends.
Yeah. Yeah. And while we're on... And while we are on the subject of me, I decided to take charge of where we would do this test. I'm tired of these two picking places that I don't like or understand, which is why this week the Grand Tour is off to Switzerland.
And to prove its important work, we decided to pull over and start acting like important car journalists.
You may mock the idea of a Croatian supercar, but Rimac is already working with Koenigsegg and Aston Martin on their battery tech. It's a serious company, so serious that they make nearly every bit of this car themselves. Sat-nav, switchgear, headlamps, all in-house.
Apart from the leather, if you go for that, which is Bulgarian.
Oh, I love Bulgarian leather.
It's my favourite. But anyway, the reason I like the Aventador most is because it defines the supercar. It wasn't designed to do 1 billion round Brands Hatch. It was designed to do 9 on Knightsbridge. It was designed to make people go, wow, and it does. If you want to go fast, buy a Ferrari.
Or a Rimac.
And that's for shaving your legs, if you're a lady.
I love the Lamborghini as well, the styling especially, it's fantastic, but you know that the sort of time and thought that Lamborghini put into that, Honda put into things that they thought were important, like making a new type of steel section for that pillar so it can be smaller, so you can see out better, 10 radiators to cool the drivetrain, and lots of other stuff that make modern technology simple to use.
I just don't like it.
Well, how is that relevant? I'm talking about it, and I like it.
So
you're wrong.
I wanted to like it, but I don't.
You're redundant.
I didn't like... I really wanted to like it. I've been 10 years looking forward to it. I wanted to like it. I got in it. I didn't like it.
But it doesn't matter, because I do.
You are wrong.
I'm not wrong. I do.
Eventually, we stopped arguing and set off. So we could do more arguing on the move. So, James, Honda's hybrid technology has served them very well in Formula One the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Has it? I wouldn't know, and I don't care. Formula One is irrelevant.
And then, there are actual details that are wrong with that car.
Yes, go on.
Well, the gearbox is dim-witted, the steering's odd, the sun visor's too flimsy, the sat-nav's from a Civic, and the fuel gauge isn't straight.
What do you mean the fuel gauge isn't straight?
You look at the actual needle, it's not in the centre of the dial.
Yes, it is.
It isn't. The actual centre point of the needle is higher up than the middle of the dial.
No, it isn't. The problem is when you're driving it, your head, which is too big, is in the wrong place.
Isn't it on top of my shoulders? If you got a measuring tape out, and I'm sure you will because you're that sort of man.
I don't need to get a tape measure out because I have a very good eye for these things, and I can tell you it is.
Welcome to Radio Old.
I think the problem is the needle boss is slightly proud of the centre of the dial because your head's in the wrong place.
Coming up next, we moan about the price of things and how young policemen are these days. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the fuel gauge. What a ridiculous thing to say if I set the fuel gauge to low.
It's so good to be back doing what we do. Driving round corners a bit too quickly while shouting and bickering. I know people who eat this stuff. Do you know what they're called? Women.
Think how healthy you'll feel when we get back.
How long are we here for?
4 days.
4 days?
I've got a lot of things planned.
Yeah, but we're going to starve to death, Hammond.
No, you won't. Listen, what this is tough love. Well, not love for you two, but it's what you need. It's tougher hate than usual is what I'm giving you. I'm taking you in hand and for both of your sakes, turning you around, turning over a new leaf. I actually think James is looking better already. Look at him, he's got a healthy glow.
He isn't looking better, he's looking angrier.
You're going to look a lot worse in a minute. I can guarantee that.
Look at the view. Look at that. Look at that.
You can't eat that.
Actually, you are.
Ungrateful sod.
OK, we will pick that up later on.
Yes, and now it's time for us to take a stroll down the smooth sidewalks of Conversation Street.
Now, I'd like to begin Conversation Street with the world's most incompetent TV host, James May, who filmed the entire series, and as you saw in that sting, the sting itself, and in the montage, and in Switzerland, looking, well, with long hair, looking like a roadie for Steppenwolf. And then he turned up this morning looking like a geography teacher. James, have you ever heard of the concept of continuity?
No, he had to do it. He had to make a change because he had his identity stolen.
I did, actually. That is absolutely true. I did have my identity stolen. Somebody got hold of, personal details, address and date of birth, and they've opened, 8 bank accounts with overdrafts and loans and all that stuff that I'd be liable for.
Yes, but what fascinates me about this is they had a choice. They could have been David Beckham or Brad Pitt.
Yeah, you can look around the world. Anybody, I want to be Barack Obama. Cool, powerful. No, wait a minute. I want to live in Hammersmith and have a folding bicycle so that one day I can walk out of my house and say, look at me, behold, I have become James May. And now I will organise your paper clips if you've got a pie.
But the good thing is, James, is we can guarantee this will never happen to you again.
You?
Yes, because we have come up with a new name for you.
Yeah. You are now Dingleberry Hand Pump. That is your name, your new identity.
Nobody's going to steal that because nobody's going to go into a mobile phone shop and say, I'd like to set up an account, please. My name is Dingleberry Hand Pump.
Yes.
You're completely safe. It's just that that's now your name.
I appreciate that.
That's OK. We're moving on with an apology. And it's for the lateness of the arrival of this series. Yeah. The problem is that since we were last here, all 3 of us, for one reason or another, have been in hospital. Hand Pump was in for... Well, I actually don't know why he was in, but he was. Hammond, well, we'll see why later. And then I had pneumonia. So...
this pneumonia
yes.
of yours...
Yes.
It's something that people catch from, I don't know, going out without your vest on.
That's what we're always told.
Yeah, so my mum used to say you'd get it if you went out with wet hair.
Yes.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And yet you somehow managed to catch pneumonia on the sun-kissed Mediterranean Isle of Mallorca.
Yes, I did. I did.
It's very odd, this, because he was out there for 5 weeks. He rang us after one and he said, I can't come home. I've literally got pneumonia.
I had.
And I looked it up. It was 100 degrees and bone dry.
And you got pneumonia.
I did catch pneumonia.
Well, after a short while, if I remember rightly, you managed to get yourself to Ibiza.
Yes, I did.
I don't remember a news headline in the papers that said Jeremy Clarkson rushed to Ibiza with pneumonia.
No, I know I wasn't rushed there. I went on a friend's boat.
Sadly, Jeremy Clarkson has been admitted to a luxury yacht with pneumonia.
This pneumonia
Oh,
of yours
yes.
that you suffered from,
Yes.
was it at its worst in the morning when you woke up? And then did it get better through the day, every day, towards the evening, every day?
It was pneumonia, for crying out loud. You're mocking the afflicted. OK, hand pump, why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen why you were in hospital?
No, I don't like to make a fuss. Let's talk about cars. It's nothing to do with my anus. Let's just clear that up in case that stays in.
I've got some conversation.
What?
Nissan has introduced some special seats that record your sweat. OK, I've got a picture of them here. Right, they start blue, and then they go yellow where you've been sweating.
Why would you want seats that do that?
That's a very, very good question, and one
It's
that
the
I
only
asked.
question.
It is, yeah. Well, I looked into it. Apparently, they say it's because, as you can see, you can tell when you're dehydrated because you've been sweating.
I know when I'm dehydrated, it's because I feel thirsty and I need a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Well, be careful with that. You'll get pneumonia again.
So it starts. It's how it starts. It's how it starts. No, I know what you mean.
It's throat applauding.
Yeah.
Hand pump.
That is the world's first... Nissan have come up with the world's first pneumonia-sensing car seats. That's absolutely incredible.
No, I know what you mean, though. Our bodies are equipped with means of telling us that we are dehydrated without looking at the seat.
Exactly, exactly.
Like if you go for a pee and just sand comes out, it's time for some water.
So if you're one of those sort of slightly fat jogger-type people, won't you end up with, like, a yellow line where your butt crack was? 'Cause,
Oh, lovely.
How
very lovely.
Do you know the worst one I ever had with that? I was filming in the States, in Texas, a town called Lubbock. And I borrowed a pickup truck from this quite large gentleman who lent it. We needed it for filming. Drove it around all day, took it back to him in the evening, and he bent over to pick something up. And as he did that, he'd got his shirt not tucked in. As he bent over, I could see he'd done his jeans up under his arse. What? Well, because he wasn't a well-off man. He'd obviously bought a pair of jeans when he was 14 and didn't fit them anymore, so he just simply... And I could see he hadn't wiped his bottom.
Oh, God! Jeremy, who steers your eyes? Why did you look there?
Because
Look
it
away,
was a
look away.
gigantic arse with a brown...
I don't want to see a man's claggy bottom.
I didn't either, but I spent all day squirming around
I
on the
see.
seats of his pickup truck. And I was wearing beige trousers.
That's all right. You can explain it to people. It's all right, it's not mine, it's somebody else's.
Exactly. I've got somebody else's skid marks on my trousers. It doesn't wash. Now, as we know, a lot of, particularly sporty cars these days, have got exhaust systems that sort of make a racket when you put your foot down or when you start them up in the morning. I had an Audi RS3 the other day. As he fired it up, and... He's just like, we're only going to the shops with some milk.
Makes a big fuss.
There's a huge song and dance about it.
well, actually, some Jags do this, don't they?
All the sporty ones do, yeah.
Yeah, they do, because they make a tremendous racket, but you don't hear it inside the Jag. You can only hear it... Basically, your neighbours are annoyed by it, but not you.
Yes, and this is exactly what I'm on about, because Ford has announced on the new Mustang, it's got something called Good Neighbour mode.
Ooh. Does it come around and water your plants when you're on holiday?
Tell you you've forgotten to take the cat in.
No.
Bring your post in.
No.
Invite you around if it's having a
No,
party.
it doesn't do any of those things, but you can program the car to start quietly between certain hours of the day. So between, say, 11 p.m. and 8 a.m., it starts quietly, OK? Because Ford's head of noises...
The what?
Well, he's probably, you know, he's American. He'll be the vice president of noises, because they always are. He's come up with a list of other annoying sounds.
Oh, where are you on it? Come on, top. Gotta be. Right at the top. Number one.
That's actually a good point. What are the most annoying noises in the world?
Oh, good conversation. I like that.
What are they? What?
Cat fighting.
Cat fighting?
Oh, no, I like that.
What? What?
Whoa!
So who was shagging? Foxes.
No, he's right, actually. That is
Actually,
an annoying
foxes
noise.
do make a lot of noise. I think
Do you
we'll
know
have-
why?
This is broadcast in America. They don't know what shagging is. We know what shagging is, that. Making love.
Getting it on.
Making little foxes for our American viewers.
I have to be honest, mine is one of the old-fashioned with polystyrene. Anyone share that one?
Polystyrene doesn't make a noise. It's
It does, it
inert. It's just-
squeaks. My children bought me one of those record players. You know, you can digitise vinyl. You know the one I mean.
Oh,
You
they
can plug your
transfer
iPod
all
into
your
it. Yeah.
records into digital files.
And I can't get it out of the box because it's all covered in polystyrene. It's just sitting
Oh,
there.
no, so your kids bought you this?
Yes.
And you haven't taken it out of the box?
No.
You ungrateful bastard.
Did you hear that? It was like stereo.
I mean, that's your dad. You were there when he take it out of the box. Well, your secret's out of the box now, unlike your present that they bought.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the end of Conversation Street. We must now move on. In fact, we must move back to our film. Tonight, we are comparing the superb Lamborghini Aventador S the Honda NSX, which is a hybrid and has a wonky fuel gauge,
No, it doesn't. It's not wonky.
and the Rimac, which is an all-electric Croatian supercar.
Yes, it's our comparison between the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah, the only trouble with this is that we were staying at a health farm, which Hammond had chosen, sticking to a schedule that he'd dreamt up.
Oh, my word.
Sit rep. The entire tyre has been consumed by the heart of the monster.
It has.
Do you know the thing was? The tyre pressure warning light came on.
What could that have meant?
Well, it meant that on this, it was specifically telling me there was a problem with this tyre. So I ignored it.
Yes. It's a good job you're not an airline pilot.
Yes. However, we'll get it fixed, and then, actually, we've got to find a track. And then I will be able to thrash you. What do you mean, no?
You won't find a track in Switzerland, will you? Because motor racing is banned.
What do you mean banned?
No, it is. 1955, there was an accident in France at Le Mans. The Swiss banned motorsport. It's still banned today.
We can think of something else. Something that requires 4 tyres.
Oh, God, I tell you what, though, it does mean another night in his hotel.
And you're going to drive there on a space saver.
No, I know something we can do.
What?
There's plenty to occupy us at the hotel.
Well,
Come on.
not supper. That
That
only
may take a
occupies you
while
for-
because I'm going on a bicycle wheel. I still can't believe that Switzerland banned motor racing because of an accident in another country.
Yeah, it's like Britain banning railways because a train crashed in India.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like America invading Iraq because some Saudi Arabians destroyed the World Trade Center. Did I say that out loud?
That came out.
Did I?
That came out as sound.
Did you? Well, never mind, we can edit it out.
Look, we'll pick that film up later on, but in the meantime, you may remember that in the last series we had a feature called Celebrity Brain Crash.
Yes, but we're not doing that anymore because too many people died.
Yeah. And also because you all hated it.
Yeah, that's the main reason. Everybody wrote to us and said, that's rubbish, why don't you stop doing it?
Let's get back to Switzerland. When we left the action, Jeremy had torn the tyre clean off his Lamborghini. And we thought that would be it as far as accidents are concerned.
We figured that because we are all experienced professional drivers, nothing else could possibly go wrong.
Exactly. So we pick up the story at our wellness clinic, where we were trying to work out how to get the best out of 3 supercars in a country where motor racing is banned.
This was not easy, given the activity that Hammond had planned for us that night.
Ow! Jesus!
Well, we could always go to a museum.
We need to go to a racetrack, Hammond. Look, actually, as we're in Switzerland, Clarkson,
What?
can you do Can you do hill climbs in Switzerland under their laws?
I don't know, I've got a tube up my arse.
But seriously, you've been here before. You're supposedly the motorsport expert, you always say.
I don't know, I've got a tube up my arse.
No, but the thing that they banned was that because in the famous Le Mans crash, cars crashed into each other into the crowd, but that can't happen in a hill climb. So would they allow stuff against the clock?
I don't know, because I've got a tube up my arse.
Come on, think, Clarkson.
I think you can do hill climbing in Switzerland, but I don't know for sure, because I've got a tube up my arse.
Right. Okay, but that's a start. Let's see if we can find out. Out!
Right, I have the times here. Are you ready? Representing the present day. The Honda NSX did it in 1:20.4. OK? Representing the past, the Lamborghini Aventador did it in 1 minute 10.4. And this is the big one, representing the future. The Rimac did it in 1 minute 14.7.
Yes! I am the winner! I am victorious!
Wait a minute!
The past!
You weren't even driving the bloody car.
Well, you were driving your car and you crashed it.
Yes, but I crashed after the finishing line, like a professional.
Hammond, when was the last time you went home after work not in an air ambulance?
Now,
When was the last time you took your own clothes off at night rather than have a paramedic cut them off in a field?
Now, hang on a minute.
You crashed after the finishing line, so our cameras weren't there. We had to get that clip from YouTube. That is not professional. That is selfish.
Look,
It is.
I just don't know how it happened.
We do. We know exactly how it happened. History has taught us you can't drive in a straight line. And now we've seen you can't drive around the corner either.
Do you know what's a really remarkable thing about that crash?
What?
That car continued to catch fire 5 days after it happened.
What? Bursting into...
Yeah, spontaneously bursting into flames. And the reason is the accident damaged one of the cells in the lithium-ion battery. That causes a short circuit, it catches fire. But then that damages the next cell, so that one catches fire. And so it goes on. There are 8,000 cells in that thing.
So it's like a chain reaction. What do they call it?
Yeah, chain reaction. It's called thermal runaways. Bang, 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 and so it goes on.
I was all right. Thank you. I mean, it's relevant. OK.
We don't care. And anyway, it's time to end the programme with a conclusion to our very thorough test. And it's this. The future is very fast and extremely quiet, but a bit burny. It's a dreary drone.
Yeah, just going on and on and on and on.
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, you think you had it bad. I was travelling with a handicap.
James, it's not 1950. The correct term these days is a disabled.
He's not disabled, he's just clumsy.
Actually, on that whole point, able-bodied people like to think that everything that could be done to make life easier and convenient for disabled people has been done. But when you find yourself in that position, you realise it really, really hasn't.
The Grand Tour, a show that cares. This week it's disabled people, and next week we're doing people who are BLT.
That's a sandwich.
Oh, no, what is it I mean?
You mean LGBT?
Yes, that. That's what I meant, not BLT.
No, it's lesbian, gay, bacon and tomato. That's the one.
That's my favourite sandwich, and we're doing that next week. Later on, though, we'll be picking the race up, so don't go away.
No, absolutely, there'll be more of that later. But now it is time for us to lean on the lamppost of chat in Conversation Street.
Right, yes, now. Formula One season is over, and as we all know, I'm sure Lewis Hamilton is world champion, and well done him. I think we all agree on that. I'm sure the baby Jesus was very pleased.
I don't doubt it.
Two of them are like that.
Oh, yeah, close.
For me, though, the highlight of the entire season was on the podium in Mexico, where Kimi Raikkonen set what I think is a new world record for the longest chug of champagne.
Did it?
Honestly, everyone else is sort of spraying it around. And I don't know if anybody else noticed, back of shot. I know the Finns like a drink, but he must have titanium throat.
Imagine the burp he did afterwards. A whole bottle.
It's staggering.
I think the problem is for most people, the champagne on the podium is a ritual. But for Kimi Raikkonen, it's just another drink, and he hasn't had one for at least 2 hours.
I've been doing this for hours. I often wonder, you know, in Abu Dhabi, on the podium, they're given rosewater, not champagne. So if Kimi's coming third, he's thinking, I've got to go on the podium for 20 minutes and drink rosewater. Oh, no, I'm fourth. I can go straight to my motorhome and have a beer.
Tuck in.
I mean, he is a Finn. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, self-driving cars.
Yes.
We're told they're coming.
Yes.
We were told this week, actually, that there's a problem. In cities like New York, and I guess other cities around the world, that people who drive them, and indeed the cars themselves, are going to be bullied.
Bullied?
Yes, bullied, that's what they're saying, because obviously these cars will be programmed to never run over a person, OK? Which means you can just go and stand in front of them. I mean, you could.
Well, you could actually be better than that. You can probably herd them a bit.
No, I could herd them, and I would herd them. Because can you imagine how sanctimonious the man sitting in his new self-driving car is going to be with his paper? I'm not driving this, I'm just reading the paper while it drives me home. Well, if you just go back up, they could be going, that's a bloody move, back him into a river.
Yeah, because
That's what I'd do, I would.
they'll have all those algorithms on board for the moral decisions, won't they, as to what they're going to do. So carry a fake baby.
Oh, good plan.
Just walk up to it, because then the car will think, fake baby or a fat smug man in a business suit, he's going in the river, isn't he?
He's
Back
going.
straight
This is
away.
exactly right.
That would be tremendous fun. Sadly, I don't think we're going to see anything like an autonomous car until long after we're dead.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. They are years and years and years away, decades away.
It's such a complicated area to apply what is essentially robotics.
You're dead right about robotics. I mean, I don't yet have a robot that could make me a cup of tea, which is quite simple, or bring me my slippers.
No, it's just domestic stuff.
And sex robots aren't even here yet.
That's people from Essex, isn't it? Isn't there a show about... There's a TV show about that, isn't
Anyone
there?
from Essex?
Orange
You are
sex
from
robot.
Essex? There's a sex robot here, look.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he thinks of it. I don't, personally.
That's amazing. It's incredibly convincing.
It is, I mean, I'm sticking. Can you go like that?
Much better than...
Can we stop this conversation? It's going to go somewhere wrong.
The way I would sum this up is this, OK? Somebody who says, we've made this self-driving car, it's brilliant. I will take him to Bolivia. Put him at the bottom of Death Road and say, right, sit in it, reading your paper, while it drives you up there, passing all the buses with the 1,000-foot drop. You're prepared to do that, and you can reach the top with no poo in your underpants. I'll buy one.
Enjoy
Till
reading
then-
your newspaper on the way. It's not going to work.
No, it is. Right, read... Right, so that's covered self-driving cars. We needn't worry. Right, should we move it on?
Yes, moving on. Interesting news this week. Jeremy has been approached to be the ambassador for a vineyard in the south of France.
Yes, I have. Well,
What's he
can you
thinking?
imagine a better job than that?
Oh, yeah.
I am the ambassador for Chateau...
How's that going to go? And where is the ambassador? I was out the back, completely clattered where he always is. You're not an ambassador, you're a customer.
Sorry, he's out the back with pneumonia.
Oh, yes, yes.
Still droning on about
Ambassadorial
that.
pneumonia.
I don't know how it's going to work, though, because the problem is the three of us have never had a commercial tie-in, have we? I mean, you may be surprised to hear this. We dress ourselves.
No, it doesn't
We're
mean
not-
we put our clothes on
No,
ourselves.
we're not sponsored by a clothing company. I know you're going to be staggered to hear that. But
Model's own.
Yes, this is it. I go into a shop and I choose these and then I buy them with my money, watches and everything. We buy everything ourselves. That's why, so we don't know how it works, really, all the commercial
No,
stuff.
we are on...
Well, actually, it's funny you should mention that, because you know that pink and purple striped rugby shirt thing that I've had for years?
Yeah.
That I always wear. You do?
Yes.
You know the one I mean,
It's a top.
don't you? Yes? Yes.
I know, yeah.
Blue and
Top.
mauve strip. Yeah, it's
Did
a
you
top.
just say top?
Well, it's a top.
It's not a top.
It is not
Lindsay,
a
it's
shirt. It's not a T-shirt. It's
No,
a it's a
Hammond,
top.
I'm sorry, I've never said this before in my entire life, and I promise I'll never say it again, but I'm with James May on this. A man cannot wear a top.
Ordinarily, no, but that is technically it's a hooped top.
Anyway, that's not the point. I was at an event once, and a man sidled up to me, and he took me to one side, and he was from Gant, the big American clothing company that made that thing originally, that shirt. And he begged me. He said, "Please stop wearing it, please." And then, but it got better than that, because he says, if you stop wearing it, you can have as many free clothes as you like. But I still said no, because I'm an arse. Yes.
Hey, what about... Why don't we do...
What?
Reverse sponsorship. It's just occurring to me. You know, Levi's once said, I'm ruining the Levi reputation because I always wear Levi's. Why don't I say to them, give me 100 grand, I'll wear Angus. We could take it to what? No, what about watches? I'll sit like this and I'm going to say something deeply offensive to thousands and millions of people around the world, Omega. Unless you send me 50 grand and I'll wear a Rolex, which is the watch of choice for all the world's arses.
I'm not a lawyer,
You're not.
but isn't that extortion? It is extortion. It just
I'll tell you
is.
what, I've got a better idea.
What?
Why don't we say to people they can put in bids to put their logo on the bottom of Richard Hammond's car? Because the chances are they'll be lucky.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Imagine the commentary. And here comes Richard Hammond. Oh, no, he's gone off. Pepsi.
That's a very
Thank
good
you.
idea.
Good. Moving on.
That's the end of Conversation Street.
Let's move on because it is now time for us to peer down a manhole of chat on Conversation Street.
That's festive. It's a tree and that. And I think we should do more festive stuff
Yes.
now and turn on the lights on our motoring-flavoured tree.
Yes, and I'd like to go first, please, if I turn on the lights that I've made using the backlights from various cars. Look, that's Christmas, isn't it? Oh.
I'd like to add my lights to the festive tree, which I've made out of indicators, so they're orange and they flash and they're warm. Are you ready?
Oh,
How
Christmas.
about that then?
That's
Yeah.
very...
Right.
No!
Why not?
Do not switch on whatever you've made.
Why?
Because you'll blind everybody in the tent.
Why do you always think I'll have overdone it?
Because you always overdo it.
Ready?
Oh, dear God.
Look at that. Why are you grimacing?
Don't encourage him.
What? It's brilliant. It's a bit bright, I admit,
It
but...
is bright. You've burnt people's eyes out.
Why is it a cross?
This is a baby Jesus.
It's the baby Jesus, not the dead Jesus.
What?
The cross is what he was crucified on. That's Easter.
Oh. So, what should it be at Christmas?
A star.
That's Jewish.
No,
It is. Jews don't do Christmas.
it's a different sort of star.
You've used the wrong religious symbol.
What that is a big spoiler alert.
Yes. it is. Yeah.
I'm giving away the ending.
Yeah.
If you don't want to know what happens to the baby Jesus later on, look away now.
Last year, we looked at all the various motoring-related Christmas presents that you could buy, and they were all terrible.
They are.
In fact, they always are terrible. Actually, the most terrible of them all I've got in here. It's Scalextric.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean, oh, come
Well,
on?
I like Scalextric.
Ah, you're wrong.
No, you are wrong.
How can I be wrong about what I
You
like?
don't like
No,
it.
you think you like it.
I do.
It's like classical music. People think they like classical music, but they don't. Nobody does, really.
I do.
Anyway, back to Scalextric, which nobody likes, OK?
Professor of sweeping statements.
Let me explain the problem, OK? This is how Scalextric works. You take out the car, wow, you think, look at that, it's like a Dodge Viper, and then throw it under some furniture.
And you have just played Scalextric.
Because that's
all
what
it can do.
happens
Yeah.
immediately with Scalextric.
No, you get your little sister to go and pick it up. Scalextric should come with a little sister, minded.
No, it shouldn't come with a little sister.
It did.
Did you just say that out loud?
Yeah, he did. I was hoping to just carry on.
My little sister's 12 years younger. The year I got my Scalextric set, I also got a little sister.
Don't disillusion him of it. He thinks that's where they come from.
He came from Hornby Hobbies.
No, it shouldn't arrive at all.
Two things are going to happen. Either you go too fast, in which case the car goes under furniture.
Yes.
Or you get the speed right and it just goes round and round
Yes.
and round and round forever.
Yes, you find the speed at which the cars don't come off, and then you just watch them. What you're doing at that point is watching electricity happen.
Yes.
Well, I can see why you were disappointed in it, Hammond. You put an electric car on a racetrack, and the next thing you know, you've crashed. Sorry, that was a bit tight.
That was... Oh, that wasn't even in the back. That was in the face.
I have got some Bentley espresso cups and saucers. What do you think of that?
No, I quite like those. I
They're
like the
horrible.
colours. No, they're
They're
not. The colours
horrible.
are
They're
nice.
too thick. Look at
Ah, they're not. Because espresso cups have to be thick. They have to weigh 147.8 grams.
Says who?
Italian coffee scientists. It's a fact.
That is pretentious twaddle.
It is.
Come on,
It is.
Sydney.
Just try it in a restaurant. Call the waiter over. Come here, my man. I think you know what I'm going to tell you about about this cup. It's too heavy.
But it isn't too heavy, that's the point.
It is too heavy. It's too thick. Look
It
at that.
isn't.
You could hit that with a hammer and it would survive.
What, and that's a bad thing? Oh, don't hit it with a hammer.
I was wrong.
I was actually going to take those home.
No, you can. You can, actually. There you go. There's your set of 3 Bentley espresso cups and saucers. And you get a spare saucer in case you break it.
Nice. A spare. It's a good present, that.
I have actually got you a present, Hammond.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's in a presentation box. Here it is. The box is broken, and I apologise for that. But there it is. Check it out.
It's a ruined watch.
Not just any ruined watch, it's your ruined watch.
Is it?
Yeah, that has been retrieved from the wreckage of the car that you destroyed with your incompetence. And that survived the fire. It's actually still working. It doesn't look pretty, I admit, but it's still working.
Well, that's actually quite a nice present in a way, isn't it?
Exactly. And they've written a little thing on the box, made in Switzerland, and then carefully perfected on the 10th of June 2017 by the British.
They don't mean perfected, do they?
No, and they don't mean British, they mean you, is what they
It's
mean.
actually quite a mean present after all.
Well, look, Hammond, I've got you something. I have got you a pair of running shoes, and I've added to them the logo of your favourite local car maker. And you can't say you don't like that. You love running. You go running every morning. I've seen you go running in the evening as well.
I cannot wear those
Why not?
because I'm not allowed to run anymore. I broke my leg.
Stop
Oh, dude,
going on
go on
about it. It's all he talks about. My leg. We brought you those presents. 2 of them. I've got you another present here. Look at that. An alarm clock. Made it. It's beautifully styled. Right, I'm going to set
No,
it.
it's so funny. It's crashed. I see.
Here's a crushed upside down car on top. That's why it's yours. Right, I'm just setting it now. There you go. Now pretend to be asleep.
What?
Don't worry.
Oh,
Just
right.
pretend to be asleep. This is on your bedside
Okay.
table.
I'm asleep.
There it is. It's going off. What?
That's my alarm.
Yes.
Well, that's...
Come on.
I can't have that. That'll just set fire.
You've got my glasses.
That'll just set fire to everything on my bedside.
Sorry.
Oh, God! It's not me that's on fire this time.
I missed. I haven't got my glasses.
I can't wake up to that every morning.
When you're driving along and your car catches fire, which you will because you'll have crashed it, you'll be used to it because you have to put a fire out every single morning.
Yes, I won't have slept for a year waiting for an explosion next to my bed.
Stop going on and moaning about all the presents we've
It's
given you.
traumatising.
Look, I have bought you a pair of trousers. There
What?
you go. Yep.
Oh, thank you, James. Very nice. Yes,
Not
they're
just any old trousers.
No, they've got all Velcro on them. What's that about?
Well, it means paramedics won't have to cut your clothes off you. And you'll save a fortune over the coming year, you see.
Have you got us anything?
No.
Not a thing.
Well, I didn't know we were doing this.
What do you mean you didn't? You didn't know it was Christmas? It's in your diary, Hammond.
It's in everybody's diary. It's not like Easter. It doesn't move around. It's the same day every year.
Every single year.
But you could have sent a memo saying we're doing presents in the tent.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, Jeremy Clarkson, not everybody is as thoughtless as Richard Hammond. I'm certainly not, and I have bought you a present.
Oh, thank you, James. What is it?
It's the season of goodwill to all men, even if you hate them. I have got you for Christmas a T-shirt.
Are they my lungs?
Yes, they are.
Well, that was when I... It is.
No, there was a lot of work went into this because I had to ring up the hospital in Mallorca and I asked the doctor, if I could have a copy of the scan of your lungs, and he let me have it, and I printed on the T-shirt, and this bit. This is the...
That was the pneumonia.
Yeah,
is
that's
what-
the bit where your lungs were infected.
Yes.
I've coloured that in pink, you know, to show your favourite type of pneumonia. That
Is that... Are they bubbles?
Yes.
James, I don't drink Prosecco. I'm not a girl.
Oh, no, of course, you're the Viking, Jeremy Clarkson, with his still pink wine that you drink out of a hollow horn.
All real men drink rosé. Thank you, James. That is a thoughtful gift, and I shall treasure it.
No, it's OK, Jeremy. There is as much pleasure in giving as there is in receiving. I suspect more.
Leave it! Leave it! Leave that right where it is.
Yeah. I've got you a properly brilliant present.
I can't wait.
No, seriously, because you know the problem with trying to open a fridge door?
No, that's not a problem.
Yes, it is. No, it is. No, you pull the thing, and then with my fridge, the seal is stronger than the weight of the fridge. So you just end up pulling the fridge across the kitchen floor.
No, that's because you're an ape.
The only way of opening my fridge is to surprise it.
Surprise you.
You know, you walk up to it backwards like that and then snatch it like that.
Surprise
because
you
then
fridge.
you have to yank it really quickly. But I'm not joking. The other day I did that and the fridge fell on top. Actually, the whole thing on top of me.
Are you sure your fridge doesn't have a push door?
Anyway, right, I've got you, James May. It's a big present, this one. Right, you ready? I've
Yep.
got you a fridge with a motoring flavour, look, because I put a steering wheel on the door. So, OK, it's now shut, yes?
Thank you very much.
Relax, OK? So look, it won't open, yes?
Right.
But then if you turn this, it's modelled on a submarine door, because it's important with a submarine, you know when a door's open or shut. All the way over, and then it opens. Can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
Well, how brilliant's that?
You've brought me a solution to a problem that only you have. That is the worst Christmas present I've ever had.
It isn't. How can it be? Why
Because
is
you
it?
bought something for yourself.
No, you did that last year. You bought your girlfriend a Ferrari that only you were insured to drive. You did. You said, oh, I bought you this, and no one else could drive it.
That's chivalry.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, I think that's just been a total disaster, Conversation Street.
It was awful.
He bought us nothing.
Yeah,
I bought you a present.
sorry.
You said, shut up. Made you presents you don't like.
No. All right, let's move on. Now, have you ever wondered if office lunchtime could be more interesting?
No, nobody's wondered that.
Well, we have, which is why James and I decided to take the grand tour to Dunstable. Anyway, shut up, because now it's time for us to plant a sapling of chat on Conversation Street.
And it is an unusual Conversation Street this week. Because it's the end of the year, we're doing our awards, OK? Or as we call them, the Nigels. We start, actually, with, we're calling it the Nissan Juke Award for the worst car of the year. Nominations are the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV.
Why is that on the list?
Well, many, many reasons, actually, chief among which is the way it beeps as you're driving along for no reason. You just go along and it goes, beep.
Oh,
Well, nothing's happened, it's just beeping.
maybe it's just bored.
I'd be bored if I was a PHEV, but anyway. Other nominations include the Mini Countryman and the Renault Kadjar.
And the winner is... It's the Nissan Juke.
There you go.
Well done. It's a deserved award.
Yeah, it is.
The judges were particularly impressed with its consistent awfulness. It was awful when it was first launched 7 years ago, and it continues to be awful to this day. Well done, the Nissan.
Do you know what that car is? It's a wacky vicar. It's the sort of vicar that... I've just been on My Face, and do you know who else was there? Jesus! That's what it is.
Next, it is the hard ass to follow, Nigel. This is given to the car with the worst-looking rear end. The nominations are the Honda Civic Type R.
Oh, I like that.
No, you're wrong.
You are wrong. It's just a car they wouldn't stop designing it.
So look how many
Putting bits
spoilers
on.
they put out. We'll have one here, and one here, and one there, and there. We'll have one exhaust, two exhaust, three exhaust. It's a bit like your jacket. They just didn't know when to stop adding bits, unnecessary, pointless, stupid things to it.
Might be in with a shout. The next nomination is the Toyota CHR, a car styled by 9 people who'd fallen out at a wedding. But the winner of the hard ass to follow, Nigel, is... Ooh. It's the Land Rover Discovery. Look at that.
I think the problem is the designer, Jerry McGovern. OK, we've got a picture of him here. And this is his dog. And this is where he lives.
All makes sense.
So it's only natural his car should look like that. It's just all hutched up. Now we have a special award. It goes to a car that you like, but you know you shouldn't because it would be a bit embarrassing. We're calling it the You Would, But You Know You Shouldn't award. Sarah Palin.
Oh, yeah.
It is the new, next year's one actually, Corvette ZR1.
Oh, that is... But that fits the bill perfectly.
Yeah.
That is exactly right, because you would buy one, because wow, and then the next morning you wake up and think, what have I done?
We're moving on now to the Lack of Continuity Award.
Nobody's going to beat me on that.
Well, you were nominated for your mid-season haircut, that's true. But you were beaten by Richard Hammond.
Hold on, why was he beaten by me?
Well, I would invite you all now to pay careful attention to, well, actually, a clip from the McLaren film that you saw earlier. This was an early edit, OK? See if you can spot something wrong here.
On the head turnometer, this thing definitely matches the Ferrari 488 and the Lamborghini Huracan. And then when we move on to the subjects of power and speed, it actually beats them.
A deserving winner.
You switched to a completely different car.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to the next award.
Oh, no.
Which, yes, you'll like this. It's for accidentally filling up the petrol tank of a supercar with water award.
Oh, God.
How, in the name of all that's holy, did you do that?
Well, it's interesting, isn't
Is
it?
it?
It was running low on fuel at the track, and rather than take it off to a petrol station, which is miles away, I filled it from one of the jerry cans.
Which was full of water.
Yes.
And you didn't notice.
No.
When did you notice?
When the tea started tasting funny, I suppose.
It was when the engine sort of let go.
How many supercars have you destroyed this year, Hammond?
2.
2. How many have you driven?
2.
Well, anyway, I'd like to present you with your Nigel for appalling continuity. There you are.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hammond.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That concludes the awards, and that concludes Conversation Street for this week. Moving on. After every single film we ever show on the Grand Tour, we always get a load of messages from people on social media, I say people, I mean teenagers, saying that they didn't like the film because it was too scripted, too faked, and too set up.
Yeah, we do. I've got one of them here. It's from Monaro Boy 4541, who says, I hated that thing you did in Morocco because it was too scripted. Why can't you do stuff like you did in Portugal? Which I also hated because it was too set up.
Yeah, so we decided to make a completely unplanned film. No scouts going ahead to find locations, no pre-scripted exchanges between us, no set-up explosions.
No, all we agreed on was that we should do whatever it was we were going to do in Croatia. We chose to meet in the town of Zadar, next to its famous sea organ. Not realising that this wave-powered machine makes a terribly annoying noise. But I ploughed on regardless. This is an Audi TT RS, four-wheel drive, 5-cylinder, turbocharged, 2.5-litre engine, 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. Really, you can think of it as a Nissan GTR in a Bauhaus baby grow suit. No, that doesn't work. Hang on. Sorry, I normally think of this before I get here. Hang on, it's a GTR with a well-groomed scrotum. No, that's... Before I'd had chance to come up with the right words, Richard Hammond arrived in an aerial nomad.
This is an aerial nomad.
I know, I've already said that in voiceover. Why didn't you bring a Porsche? You could have brought that Porsche... What is it? The new one? No, the one that was the Cockster, that is now the 971...
The 718.
Yes, that. Why didn't you bring that?
Because I brought this.
Nobody's going to say, should I buy an Audi or some scaffolding?
I grant you, it's... No, because they're both...
What?
Cars.
Are they the same price? No. Do they have the same performance? No. Are they for the same thing? No. As we argued about our mismatched cars, James arrived in an even more mismatched Lada Riva.
Well, that's not going to work, is it? I mean...
This is a Lada Riva.
We know, we've already said.
I'm talking to the viewers.
No, but they already know, don't they? I said it in voiceover. Get on
You
it.
haven't said voiceover yet.
I did.
No, he has. He's done voiceover. He said mine in voiceover as well.
This is whatever Jeremy said it was, and I paid just £800, which leaves me £1,200 for the all-important modifications, and that is plenty.
Hey?
What modifications?
The modifications to turn it into a fire engine. We're going to turn them into fire
Who
engines.
said anything about...
I'm not...
Well,
You've got to turn your car into a fire engine using the money you haven't spent out of the budget on the car. I've spent £800.
I've just borrowed that from Audi.
Exactly, I made a phone call. Can I borrow a Nomad?
Well, if you don't turn it into a fire engine, you won't win the competition, will
Not
you?
in
It's
the
as simple
competition
as-
to turn
You
it
are
into
in the
a- it's not-
competition.
James, We have tried time and again to think of a way that you could turn something into an amusing fire engine. It can't be done. No. The fire engine already exists. It's brilliant.
Yes.
It's already more compact than you'd expect, faster than you'd expect. You can fit the firemen in it
And
and
the water. And they work very well.
Exactly. That's the challenge. You're only saying you're not going to turn that into a fire engine because it's an air hostess car.
It is not.
Have you checked the boot to make sure the luggage hasn't moved during the journey?
Then our unscripted film got even more unscripted.
Really care that he's going
I'm
to
selfie. Well,
OK.
That's really up to you if it's a selfie. I mean,
If I
a bit
do
awkward,
it, I'll
though,
get us all in.
'cause
I'm better at this. I can
Well, no,
flip
but
the
hang on.
screen, I can get everybody in.
could it maybe wait?
Flip the screen. There you go.
Real.
Come on, let's do whatever we're doing. Doors to manual.
cross-check.
OK.
No air hostess jokes.
Is that seat back upright?
Where are we going?
Well, let's just go. This is the point at which we set off. We always do that. Chat, chat, chat.
There'll be a line
Chat,
of
chat,
voiceover.
chat.
I'll
OK.
put some voiceover in that says, hang on, it'll say, since we weren't able to decide what we were doing, we all went in different directions.
OK.
Since we weren't able to decide what we were doing, we all went in different directions. There you are, Monaro boy. That is what unscripted television looks like. You've got 17 minutes of film there.
Yeah.
All we did was buy a jumper, which was actually a sweatshirt,
It was.
and have a 10-second drag race. That's all we did.
Well, hang on a minute. I built a fire engine.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good fire engine.
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry, James, but your water cannon would only be any use at putting out a fire if the fire were on your windscreen wipers. Anything further away than that would be hopeless.
I put out that bin fire.
Yeah, the bin fire that you started.
I did not start it.
Yes, you did.
I might have done a bit.
Right, I've done a quick chart of how we're performing so far.
We aren't...
I'm not performing.
Right, economy. 3 points for me, most economical, obviously, followed by Hammond 2, you 1. Top speed, it's the other way around, you're the fastest. 3 points, 2 for you and 1 for me, the slowest. Now, value, you get a point for every pound you save under the £2,000 budget, but you lose a point for every pound you go over it, OK? So I am winning that. My car was £800. I score 1,200. You minus 65,000...
James...
I think there's something wrong with him.
645. I can't write on a vertical surface.
OK, let's have a writing
You-
competition. You lose.
Yeah, well, but that's not in it. Hang on, your
Badly.
car, you lose minus 48,000. 2,000,
can't be
50,000
minus-
pounds.
No, hang on,
anything.
hang on. Have you included his optional windscreen?
Don't encourage him.
Is that optional?
It's an optional windscreen.
How much is it?
1,500 quid. It's not in
Minus
it.
1,500. That's interesting, which
James-
is minus is a plus, which is
James,
a minus.
this is very riveting, but it's irrelevant.
It's not
It
irrelevant.
is irrelevant. It's like saying, Jeremy, you lost to Manchester United yesterday. I wasn't there, and I wasn't taking part.
You are taking part in this.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. Just
we-
because you can't be bothered and you've done it wrong, you're losing. Catch up here. You've got fires extinguished, water capacity. You can still claw it back for the total. But at the moment, mate, you're losing. Fires extinguished. So far, I've done 2.
Hold on. Let's have a look at the final scores on my water damage scoreboard.
No,
because...
James. No, there's no point. You get minus $1 million because that was the cost of the real fire brigade that had to come, and I get plus $1 million for winning everything.
No, hang on. The only reason your doors to manual Audi beat the magnificent Nomad is that you fed the finishing line's cat.
And because it was faster and better in every way. It is a superb car, that TT, but you can't have one.
Because of the air hostess thing.
No, because I've driven 3 examples of it now, and every single one has had squeaky brakes. You can hear it in the film. And it drives you mad.
No, that's
Absolutely mad.
unforgivable
So you can't have one.
I must ask, though, can you drive a tracked vehicle on the road in the UK?
Well, the army can.
Apart from the army.
You're not allowed to drive a track vehicle that's going to damage the road, but the Ripsaw's OK because the tracks are rubber. So you can.
Yeah, and of course, because they're rubber, if you're a complete nincompoop and you crash into somebody's treasured BMW, it does less damage. Did you see that? Did you know you'd even done that?
No. It's a tank. Which is why I love it. And now it is time for us to pop into the post office of chat on Conversation Street.
Now, as this is the start of a new year, we thought we'd have a look at some of the cars we are looking forward to coming along in 2018. It's actually quite a car-y Conversation Street. And I want to start with the Bentley Continental GT, because that's been around for what? 15 years now?
Yeah, it is.
15 years. Anyway, they've restyled it, given it an all-new look. Here it is.
Well, that is radical, isn't it? Yes. Oh, they've changed what?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. Anyway, on the inside, they say it has driver-orientated instruments.
Well, as opposed to what?
Yeah, no idea. And they say the central command screen is retina quality.
I hope it's not my retina quality. It'll be sort of slightly blurry and a bit bloodshot round the edges. But actually, if you defocus my camera, you can see what it would look like if...
Actually, that's better.
Yeah. To be
That's
honest,
better.
I wish I had your retina sitting
I
here
do.
looking at you. It's better.
I do. So anyway, in short, this car, right, it looks the same as it did before. It has a speedometer you can see and a sat-nav screen that's in focus, all for £150,000. No, but actually, no, to be fair, for a W12 twin-turbo car like that, 150 grand these days isn't bad.
It's not bad at all.
And I bet that's a bloody good car.
I think it probably will.
I bet you it is.
I bet that's going to be bloody good as well. The only thing I don't like about Bentley, I wish they'd stop going on about all that Bentley boys at Mulsanne and men in aprons making things. I've got a bit from their blurb here.
With your blurry eyes. Here we go.
Blurry eyes,
Retina
exactly.
quality reading coming
Really
up.
not working,
It
is
says,
Oh,
it says
so
designed,
depressing.
engineered and handcrafted in Britain. But the truth is, that's a Porsche Panamera underneath, and it has a VW engine and a Porsche gearbox, in fact.
No, that's true, but the chief executive of Bentley is called Bunter Potherington Smythe.
Is he?
No, he's called Wolfgang Durheimer.
Is he?
Yeah, it's a bit of a giveaway.
But that's exactly the sort of thing they should celebrate, you see. They should say, Bentley, don't worry, it's reassuringly German.
Precisely. That's what you want to hear, actually.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
a chance it might work.
Anyway, have you seen this? This is the AMG Project One, developed by Lewis Hamilton, so presumably it will have pierced door mirrors.
Yeah. And tattooed bodywork.
Yeah. And when it gets to where it's going, the sat-nav says, #blessed. It's going to cost £2 million. Doesn't say whether that includes tax.
Cheeky. Dave.
Cruel but fair.
A car I'm looking forward to driving this year is this. That is the new BMW 8 Series. And if it actually looks like that, that admittedly is the styling thing that they show the public, but if it looks like that, I think it will be fantastic. And I've heard that it will be available with a 6.6-litre V12.
That's a waste of time.
What?
Well, V12s actually don't make much sense if you think about it.
Well, it's a bit of a sweeping statement.
No, because seriously, because you get all the complexity and all the thirst, and where's the upside?
Well, for a given capacity, you get a greater number of smaller pistons, which have a lower reciprocating rate, which means you can have a higher rev line on the engine and effectively more power.
There's a point.
Yeah, the thing is, though, the power, the extra power you talk about as a result of whatever it was you just said, is offset by the weight, and they sound dreary, and all V12s depreciate like pianos falling off tower blocks. No, they do. Friend of mine, OK, he had a Ferrari GCC 4 Lusso, the V12 one, kept it 4 months and sold it after 4 months and lost £55,000 in 4 months. Yes, I mean, if he'd have had the V8, it wouldn't have depreciated that much. Well, mainly because he wouldn't have wanted to sell it in the first place.
Do you know, that is really good buyer's advice for every man, isn't it? We all now know.
This
Go
from a
for
man
the
who's just
V8.
reviewed a £300,000 tank. Has anyone got an expensive car? Yes. What? Range Rover. That's not expensive.
The Range Rover, we use those as vans.
Yeah. What's the most... A what?
SVR.
Oh, an SVR is quite expensive.
Was that with the V8 in it? Do you not feel an
No,
idiot
but
when
it's
you
got a
overtake?
1.3.
Well, you
What do you
just...
think
With that supercharged V8, you feel like such an idiot when you overtake because of the noise it makes. It's genuinely embarrassing.
But I'll admit, OK, let's not talk about supercars anymore. Try and think of something that isn't about Lamborghinis.
Well,
It is. It's about...
the car I most like the look of is this. It's the Lamborghini concept called... What's it made me do it? It's called the Terzo Millennio. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, Terzo Millennio. But think about that car, interesting. It has supercapacitors instead of batteries, which are apparently better, and a motor in each wheel. You can see them and they glow when it's running, which is cool. But best of all, they say it has self-healing bodywork. It's got nanotubes in it, which can detect damage and then repair it.
How does that work?
I don't know. And they said they've been thinking outside the box to do it.
I think they've been thinking inside the pub, haven't they, with himself in...
I bet if you went, when that isn't a drawing anymore and is a real car, and you went on a motor show stand and ran a key down the side of it, I bet they wouldn't say, well, that's good, now we can watch it mend itself.
No, they might charge after you, bellowing, I hope you've got nanotubes, chum. You're going to get a kicking. Things I'm excited about, it's actually out about now. Renault have a pickup truck.
What?
Look at that!
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because the whole world wants one. Je suis un rouge neck. Wait, je suis un nerd kicker.
I'm sorry to say that won't work, because the Americans don't want a Renault and the French don't want a pickup truck.
No.
ISIS like a pickup truck, don't they?
ISIS would...
I'm just looking for a
That's a
market.
good idea.
This is business. That's what you do.
If Renault ship them all out to Syria, these crappy old Toyotas, it was a shiny new Renault, won't start. It'd solve ISIS in a heartbeat.
Global peace.
No, the drone's coming. That will blow to pieces.
Thank you, Renault. Well done. Saved the world.
Renault has saved the world.
Who knew?
Yeah. I tell you what I thought you'd like most of all for this year is this.
I do like the look of that. That is the new... It's the Dodge Challenger Demon. It's basically an even more powerful version of the Hellcat I drove in the last series. 840 horsepower. And if you look, it's got those little wheels at the front because it's set up there for drag racing. Big
But it
wheels
looks
at
like a
the
T-Rex.
What?
It's ridiculous. It's like that. It's just stupid. That's why T-Rexes died out. They couldn't reach anything.
Well, they were good at drag racing, though, weren't they?
Yeah, but they couldn't even pleasure themselves.
Sorry?
Well, how would a T-Rex pleasure
How's
himself?
your mind even gone there?
I'm telling you, that's why...
Is that why they were always in such a bad mood?
Yes. And that is the end of Conversation Street, Jaguar. Now, us three, we love Jags because they're so roguish. You can take a girl out for dinner if you have a Jag, and then she will pay. You can go and stay with people for the weekend, help yourself to all their belongings, and no one will mind because you have a Jag. Exactly.
In fact, people expect it. You have somebody to stay at your house who owns a Jag. You've got to accept you're going to lose some paintings.
Yeah, and some cutlery. The thing is, though, OK, even though a Jaguar is an international get-out-of-jail-free card, very few people actually ever buy one. I mean, who here's got a Jag? 1, 2... Only 3 people in Britain drive Jaguars. Astonishing.
Yeah, I've actually got the sales figures here, and they are pretty tragic, because in the 5 years up to 2016, Jaguar sold 200,000 cars worldwide, and in the same period, Audi, Mercedes, and even BMW each sold over 8 million.
Yeah, it's a staggering statistic, it really is. And we were talking about this in the office the other day, and Mr. Willman said people don't buy Jags because they used to break down.
Yeah, but that's just not true. And we decided to prove this by taking the Grand Tour this week to Colorado. The car I've chosen is, I think, the best car Jaguar ever made. The V8 supercharged XJR. It's cool without being cool Britannia. It's caddish without being laddish. It's violent without being vicious. And it is just the last word in sophistication. Hannibal Lecter had one, and I think that says it all, because the last we saw of him, he was on a plane, scot-free, eating a district attorney's head. Soon I reached the meeting point where I found James, who'd bought an XK8 convertible. Here we are, look. A big cat near an old dog. Greetings, mate.
Moron. It's not a Subaru. You're supposed to be upholding the reputation of the Jag driver.
And why have you bought that?
Because it's excellent.
It isn't.
It is.
No, this was a very poor Jaguar.
No, this was a very good Jaguar.
It wasn't. You could go camping in the wheel arches of it. Look, it was so high up. They looked all right when they were supercharged and lower, but this is...
No, but they didn't work properly when they were supercharged and lower because they had a terrible ride. The one thing you get from a Jag is a nice ride. You're disconnected from the
Yes.
world. That's the point. Anyway.
And those wheels, what's the matter? There's no anyway about it. That's the best Jag probably ever made. Well, it is.
No.
Tell me, what's wrong with that?
One of the wheels is odd.
Yes, right, I know exactly what's happened here.
Uh-huh.
Previous owners had a puncture. He simply borrowed a wheel from another car to use.
And he's going to give it back.
Of course he is.
Yeah, okay.
Because he drives a Jag.
Exactly.
And look in here.
It looks as if there's been a knife fight in the car.
That's because he went to stay with some friends, obviously, thought, I'll borrow their cutlery, tucked it into his trousers, and then he's cut his seat. That's what's happened. At this point, Mr. Hammond hoved into view. God, is that a Mark 10?
That is a Mark 10. That's a properly villainous Jag.
That is a proper Jag.
Jag. Oh, yes.
Whatever you do, OK, do not tell him that.
No. Hammond, you idiot.
What?
Well, we're supposed to be upholding the reputation of Jaguar. You've brought an antique, you've brought an old piece of furniture.
I am celebrating and reveling in the glories of Jaguar. This is 1967 420G. Look at this front end started with this car. That's the Jaguar look, isn't it? The four headlamps, the narrow
Hammond,
grille.
seriously, what is that?
It's a 420G. This was the
No,
favourite...
not that. That.
This was my jacket. I thought, a bit of style. We're in Jaguars.
There's no style in the jacket at all.
This is riddled with style, mate.
That is
Some of your jackets are terrible, but I can't...
Anyway, this was favoured by every villainous bank robber and baddie in and around England in the 60s.
And how much did you pay for it?
£6,500.
What?
I know. That is a lot of car for £6,500. Look at the size of it.
Hammond, that is £2,500 more than I paid for a supercharged Jaguar.
That is Jaguar's embarrassing attempt to recapture their own design that started with this, the four headlamps, the narrow grille. This is definitive. Your car is derivative.
And Hammond wasn't finished there.
Look at the size of this. Imagine how many oil paintings borrowed I could get in there.
It smells terrible.
Toolkit.
Let me have a look.
That's for opening windows.
This is no.
This is not necessarily for fixing the car.
None of it. That's for cutting through somebody's fence. This is for undoing the paintings from the walls. Or the Jaguar toolkit is just for burglaries.
It's got Jemmy in it.
I simply cannot believe how robust those Jags were.
Oh, I can. They are tremendously well-made cars. They really are. Swiss watchmakers. They gasp sometimes when they look at an old Jag and go, I cannot believe how much perfection there is in there.
Exactly, and we will come back to that later on. But right now, it's time to slide across an icy puddle of chat on Conversation Street.
Right, now, we begin with this. You know the fire brigade these days have been issued with those big hydraulic poultry shears.
Yeah, you mean the jaws of life?
What are they called? Yeah.
Jaws of life.
Thing is, though, if you give a man a tool like that, he is going to use it all the time, which means whenever the fire brigade now turn up, even the most minor car accident, out they come, they cut the car's roof off.
Yep, they do.
Are there any firemen here? No, because they're too busy out there cutting people's roofs off. They are.
There's loads of them out there. No, it is getting out of hand. There was a story recently. Somebody had a pretty much brand new Range Rover Sport. It had done 400 miles. They had a bit of a shunt. I think we've got a picture of it there. It's broken a headlamp, but that's about it. Fire brigade come along and immediately cut the roof off. There you go. I mean, that's made everything worse, hasn't it?
I can actually beat that, OK? A couple of years ago, there was this woman driving along. There'd been a minor accident. She wasn't involved, but the people who were involved were standing around. She said, do you want to sit down in the back of my car? Fire brigade turn up, cut the roof off her car. There, look.
So that hadn't been in the crash?
Well, they got in through the doors of fire brigade, said, well, we'll cut the roof off, easier to get you out. Oh, I can get through, the doors are working, look.
She was being a good Samaritan, and that's what she got.
Yeah.
Do you know, They actually did this to the police.
Who, the fire brigade?
Yeah, the police turned up at the scene of an accident, a very minor one. The people were unhurt. They got out of the car, but it was raining. They said, "Would you like to rest in the police car?" The fire brigade turned up and cut the roof off the police car.
That's going to escalate.
It is going to escalate. I think what happened later on was the police went in their convertible police car, round to the fire station, and they blew up the fire engine in a controlled explosion, which is what the police
That's
did.
where it's going to go. It's going to
I'm
build.
actually quite worried. I curbed the wheel on my car the other day, and I thought, oh no, I hope the fire brigade didn't see me do that. They'll cut the roof off.
Actually, they wouldn't cut the roof off your car because that's only a Golf. What they like to do is cut the roof off a Porsche.
No, exactly, because that's more exciting. When you go to the pub at night, you've got to cut the roof off a Porsche tonight. It's better than I cut the roof off a Golf or a Hyundai.
Yeah, it's a
isn't
better
it?
story.
Exactly.
And I know why they're doing it. To be brutally honest, they're doing it because they can.
They should take a lesson from the Queen. She's been the Queen now for, what, 65 years? Now, she has the constitutional right and power...
Really, this is actually their display team.
This,
They
should
do
actually, this bit better go in, because that's going to be... I'll editable, that is. They should take a lesson from the Queen. She's been in power now, what, 65 years? And she has the constitutional right to declare war on another country, OK? She can do that, and she never has. I mean, how long would you last before you declared war if you had the ability to do it?
I'd give it 2 days.
Exactly.
And it'd be all out.
I'm declaring war on France. That's what I'm doing.
Well, you would if you could. That's the problem. That's why they do it.
I actually sympathise with the fire brigade, because I bought a chainsaw the other day.
Oh, my God.
No, I did.
Are you sure?
Yes, but when you've got a chainsaw, you use it for everything. I was thinking, oh, I've got to carve the Sunday joint. I'll get the chainsaw. Opening a letter, get the chainsaw. Bread, use the chainsaw.
Your eyebrows could do with a bit of a trim.
As soon as the show's over, they're coming off with a chainsaw.
But I know what you mean. You've got it, so you use it.
Exactly, and they've got, what's it called, Jaws of Life?
Jaws of
They're
Life.
going to use it, and they are doing.
Yeah, and we've got an important message, actually, for all firemen and firemen women. Stop cutting the roofs...
I think that's right. I think that's right, mate. Carry on.
It's equal opportunities.
Carry on.
What's the matter with you?
It's a modern world.
Stop cutting the roofs off our cars, or we'll come round and cut the roof off your painting and decorating van.
Right, that's covered the fire brigade.
Yep.
Hope we don't need them anytime soon.
So do I, because we're going to be trapped in a car.
Yeah,
Please.
now, Aston Martin's launched this. It's the new Vantage.
That looks great, doesn't it? It does
It
look
does
good.
absolutely
does-
spectacular.
That actually looks like the one-off Aston they made for the Bond film.
I mean, from the back especially, we've got a picture of it from the back. I mean, look,
Yes.
that is just a spectacular-looking thing. And it's been fitted with the twin-turbocharged 4-litre V8 from Mercedes, the AMG engine.
Yeah.
And that is just brilliant. It's the work, actually, of the man with the best name in the motor industry, no, the second best name. Man with the best name is Lamborghini's chief test driver. He's called Max Venturi.
Yeah.
He's never had sex.
No. He's young and good-looking as
Yes,
well.
I know. Anyway, the guy at Aston, their technical officer, is called Max Swedge.
What?
Max Swedge.
Swatch.
No,
That's what I said.
It isn't. No, it's
You sound like a broken dentist drill.
just being racist.
I'm not.
You are. The man's Irish.
I'm not being racist.
You are, just because you want him to be called Paddy O'Malley.
I didn't say you can't.
He's good.
He's
Right, he's called
being
Max
racist on television.
Anyway, we'll gloss over your...
I'm not. That is...
It's embarrassing. They've also... I should say, Max Swedge has also put the Mercedes engine in the DB11. And I love that engine, and I love that car. That's going to be one hell of a combination.
That could
really
be
is.
amazing, couldn't it? How much is it going to be?
Well, weirdly, not much less than the V12, actually. But I think that the V8 will be better because the engine will be lighter.
Yeah. So what you're saying, in fact, is smaller is better.
No. You know, Chinese companies like to give themselves Western names, OK?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, there's a Chinese spare part company, they do brakes and what have you, that's called... this.
Well, it's memorable, isn't it?
It is memorable. The thing is, though, if you type that into Google...
Oh, don't.
You've really got some strong images for 27 pages before you get to your brake disc.
Sitting there an hour later with eyes like that. Only wanted some brake pads and now I've seen things I can't unsee.
What were you looking for when you came across it?
What had you put in? Had you been through all 27,000 pages to get to that one?
I was just looking at...
Oh,
And that is the end of this week's Conversation Street.
we get all the way to the very end, and then you ruin it.
Well, it was hardly my fault, was it? The brakes failed.
But no, you just told everybody. And now they all think that Jaguars have faults and they won't buy one, which means this entire programme has been a complete waste of time. Everything in Italian's road legal.
Anyway, it is now time for us to plant some daffodils of opinion on the roundabout of chat at the end of Conversation Street. Sorry.
That's the best thing that's going to come out of your mouth for the next 7 minutes.
Ouch! So, conversation, sticking with supercars. Many new ones have arrived recently, and we have one here. If you have a look, that is the Devil 16. Now, that has a 12.3-litre V16 quad-turbo engine. It's two Chevy engines glued together, and it has a top speed, according to the makers, of 320 miles an hour.
Really? 320?
What they say?
Well, you can test that one, Hammond. 320?
That's what they say.
Anyway, look, if you don't fancy the Devil 16, you could try the IKEA Formula IF02 RDS, the Apollo Intense Emozioni, the Delara Stradale, the Aspark Owl.
What? Owl?
The Aspark Owl.
You can't call a car an owl.
The Ventus Sarth, the Arinera Husaria, the Mazzanti Avantra Mille Cavalli, and the Hennessy Venom.
No, I'm sorry, this is just ridiculous. Seriously, they're all new supercars.
They're all new supercars.
That's absurd.
And then from America,
Oh, God.
there's the Glickenhaus SCG 004S. And from Denmark, the Zenvo TS1 GT.
Right, we've got the idea. Every single person in the world has suddenly decided, you know, I can make a supercar myself.
Yeah, it looks that way, yeah.
I mean, the problem I've got with all of this is it's not like we're spoiled for choice already. I mean, you've got Ferrari, Lamborghini, you've got Bugatti, McLaren, Ford, even Audi.
Yeah, but what if you want a supercar with no heritage that's built in someone's shed? That's what you really want.
Yeah.
And that you can't get serviced
Exactly.
anywhere.
Does any car there appeal to anyone here? You'd all rather have a Lamborghini Performante than anything there.
So that's total failure for all those
Yeah,
people.
what you've just looked at there is 27 future bankruptcies.
Now, we have always argued that women, whatever they say, are impressed when a man performs a perfectly executed handbrake turn.
Oh, it's absolutely true. I mean, we've all been watching Sir Attenborough's fish programme, haven't we? Yeah? Yeah, the Blue Planet. Unbelievable, OK? Now, the thing is, every single week, you see, OK, Manfish comes along, there's Ladyfish there. Manfish can make his face swell up. It's huge, like a satellite dish. And Ladyfish, like, I'm not bothered. But she is. She is. And then she's going, I like his huge face. And then they do sex, or whatever these fish do, and then they have babies. Now, that massive face that a fish can do, that's basically the same as the handbrake turn. All those birds that dance about, we've got the handbrake, birds can dance about.
All part of nature's dance of love.
Exactly.
But the problem has been, of course, most modern cars now have electronic handbrakes.
Yeah.
You can't do a handbrake turn with one of those. It's...
Oh, that's why Tinder's become so big.
Yeah, that's it.
You have to swipe right because you can't slide left anymore. That's what's going on.
Well, so that's been the problem. With electronic handbrakes, we can't conduct this mating ritual. Ford have noticed this, given it some thought, and they've come up with this. It's an aftermarket part that you fit to your car. They call it the drift stick.
Ooh, they ought to call it the love handle.
Yeah. But the point is, what it does, it overrides the ABS, and you can actually perform proper handbrake turns in that.
Girls are going to say, if you pull that, that was ridiculous and you frightened me. What they actually mean is, I'm hot.
Yeah.
Come on. You admit it. You're impressed by a handbrake turn, aren't you?
Just the thought of it. If you say
Yeah, you.
no, that's just part of it.
You've never been in a car with someone who's by handbrake turn?
Oh, hello.
Are you together?
What are you doing, man? What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? How did you...
You drove here today? huge fields everywhere. You didn't think, well, just give it
Get
some of
out
that.
there and
What?
impress the heck out of them.
On the way out, just mind the sheep. Right, listen. Bentley has announced a new version of the big 4x4, the Bentayga, OK?
Yeah.
Which they say is for shooting enthusiasts. We've got a picture here, look. It's got this kind of chest in the back, which has, you know, space for your guns and refreshments and so on. However, I know that whoever designed that has never been shooting in their lives.
How do you know?
Well, because if we examine the refreshments that have been photographed here, you will find that they have fitted it with rose lemonade and elderflower juice. Now, I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to have to say this, but has anyone here been shooting ever? Yeah, you have. As you will know, a shooting day is an armed drinks party. There's no place for shit like that.
You turn up with elderflower juice at a shoot and the host will shoot you. What?
What?
Middle East market.
Middle Eastern
Oh,
market?
she might have a point with that.
Could be.
Oh, don't come here with your
dumbfounded
bloody sensible, rational views.
No, actually, it's funny you should mention the Middle Eastern market, because they've also done one for fly fishing, which happens in the Yemen.
Yeah.
And it gets better. And falconry. And falconry's really big in the Middle East.
What about dogging?
What about dogging?
Oh, why don't they do one for dogging? It's a countryside pursuit, and more people do that than do falconry, don't they?
Well, you're probably right. But
Well, they should.
Well, what would you have in a dogging Bentayga then?
Well, you'd open the drawers and there'd be like... Wet wipes? Straight away.
Wet wipes, good one.
Condoms.
Yeah.
Condoms. Maybe like a camera and a whip or something.
No, I reckon on the basis of Bentley thinking that's a shooting chest, that a Bentley dogging Bentayga, they would literally have a blanket, a bowl and a lead. Now, 2 US Navy aircrew people have been in trouble for using the vapour trail from the back of their fighter jet to paint pictures in the sky. Got a shot of their work here.
That's good work. It's very neat. It's neatly done.
It is neatly done. Now, Vice Admiral Mike Shoemaker, obviously from the US Navy, is not happy about this. He says, immature acts of a sexual nature have no place in naval aviation. Well, I'm sorry, but the plane they were flying when they did that is called the F-18 Growler. If the US Navy is going to call its plane a Growler, they can't really complain when the pilots go and make pictures like that in the sky, can they?
No, and to be clear, if you're American and you don't know why we're laughing, it's the same as US troops in Iraq laughed when British soldiers were being transported around in what we call a snatch Land Rover. It's the same
Hey,
joke.
you're in a snatch! Yeah, you're flying around in a Growler, so shut up.
Anyway, if those 2 US aircrew do get fired and are bored, you are more than welcome to come on this show anytime. We'd love to see you.
Yes, you are. We like immature acts of a sexual nature.
we do,
Is that right? Yes.
And that's it for Conversation Street this week. Well, we started in the 1950s when James May was an old man. Now, back then, Jaguar won Le Mans 3 times with the D-Type. And after they retired that from racing, they decided to build 25 road-going versions of it, which they called the XK-SS. Got a photograph of one here. Now, this was aimed at wealthy young gentlemen who wanted to spend the week dashing around town and then the weekend doing motor racing. Steve McQueen had one, and I think that says it all.
Unfortunately, in 1957, there was a huge fire at the factory, and 9 of those 25 cars were never made. Until now. Let me make one thing plain right from the start. This is not a replica XK-SS built from plastic. This is an XK-SS. Built by Jaguar themselves over 10,000 painstaking hours. It's the real deal. In fact, it's as real as the real ones from way back when.
The chassis is made from a special steel called Reynolds 531. It's what they originally used to build the World War II Spitfire, and it's light, only weighs 39 kilograms. And then there's the body. The tooling and the technical drawings were all destroyed in the fire, so they had to scan an original from 1957 and then work backwards from that to make it in incredible detail, right down to the rivets, every one. The number and the position is as it was, and there's over 2,000 of them. But it was the engine that was the trickiest bit. The plans for that weren't destroyed in the fire, but I got a copy of them here. But there was a page missing. So they had to get an original engine and saw it in half to find out how it worked. No one has ever made a car like this before. It's a world first. So it's small wonder it's priced at just over £1 million.
Or, for £500,000 more, you could have one of these. It's an Aston Martin DB4 GT Lightweight. And back in the late 50s, it was the fastest car in the world. Flat out, it would do 151 miles an hour. But this is not from the late 50s. Despite what you might think when you look at its period dashboard and its period six-cylinder twin-spark engine, it was actually built a few weeks ago. So, like Hammond's Jag, it's an old car that's brand spanking new.
So did these two ever race against each other in period?
No, they did. They did. May 1960. I was a month old.
I was 10 years off being born, mate.
Yeah, whatever. Picture of it here, look.
Oh, look, there they are.
Well, it's actually a D-Type.
Yeah, but
it
that's
is
the race version.
Yeah, exactly. DB4 GT Lightweight. I mean, that was proper racing in those days. No stewards' inquiries every time there was a bump. They just finish the race, have a drink, and then some sex. We should give it a bash.
Oh, sex?
I called time on the fun and games and sat down for a natter about our amazing cars. Now, we should explain why Aston Martin and Jaguar have suddenly decided to start making cars from their back catalogue. And really, it's second-hand values, isn't it?
No, basically, yeah. I mean, the last genuine original XKSS to sell went for over £12 million.
Was it really 12 million?
12 million.
So anyone who buys that for £1 million is getting the bargain of the century.
Yep.
And Jaguar is making more profit on that than it would from selling
100 XEs.
Exactly. I wouldn't be at all surprised if other car makers don't start doing this. Ferrari, Maserati, Lamborghini. If Lancia remade the Fulvia now...
No, I'd love one. I'd rather have that than one of those.
Is that the new Honda Civic Type R?
The new one, and it is hideous.
It is, honestly.
It's worse than the last one. It's awful.
I mean, the original 90s Civic Type
good.
R was brilliant, but that is disgusting. It's revolting, is what it is. Mind you, it's not as revolting
What?
as what's just got out of it.
Oh, God.
Why are you here?
I'm here because I heard that you two were talking complete rubbish. You don't buy an old black and white television set. You don't buy a Bakelite telephone. Why would you buy an old car?
Because they're stylish.
No, new stuff is better than old stuff. I've explained this to you before. The world now is better than it was just 1 minute ago.
No, it isn't, because a minute ago you weren't here.
Yeah, that's true, and neither was that thing, and I do hate it.
It is. That's one of the most revolting cars I've ever seen.
You see, that's amazing. You're both talking rubbish again.
To prove it, I suggested we take our cars for a simple evening drive.
I did need a shower after that day when I got to my hotel room, I'll tell you.
Did you really?
Yes, I did, because I spent all day sharing a small metal box with a 4.2-litre radiator in the south of France in the summer. Honestly, my butt crack
We don't need to talk about your butt crack now, please.
What?
Don't
I'm just
talk
saying it was
about
like
that.
the Colorado River down there.
okay.
Like...
We'll come back to that later. Not that.
We are actually coming back to that later. You're sweating like a pig.
But there are other things in there too. But right now it is time to ring the doorbell of debate on the House of Chat located on Conversation Street.
Where shall we begin? What conversation shall we have? Oh, I know. Do you remember a while back we were asked to vote on the name of that new, very serious Antarctic research vessel, and we all decided we wanted to call it Boaty McBoatface?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
OK, the authorities were very angry with us for that. And they said, I thought, actually, that we'd never be consulted again because the public can't be trusted to be sensible. Well, news from my hometown, Doncaster. OK? Anyone from Doncaster? You're actually from Doncaster? You'll like this. It's actually news from Doncaster, OK? The council has decided to risk it, OK? And they asked the people of Doncaster to vote on a name for it. There are two new sort of snowplough road gritter things, yes? OK? Would you like to hear some of the suggestions people have come up with?
Yes, please, Jeremy, we would.
Here we go. Grit Van Dyke. True Grit. Rule Britannia.
I like that.
Salt Disney.
Oh, that's what they've done.
These are the names they've chosen, OK? One of them is going to be called Gritsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Anti-Slip Machine. The other one, though, is going to be called David Plowy.
That doesn't work.
Well, I think they were hoping we'd think it was David Plowy, but it isn't. It's David Plowy. It doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, as in snowplow. No.
Well, that would work in Birmingham, wouldn't it?
I'll get the snowplow out.
Snowplow out,
No,
yeah.
all right,
Get
we'll
rid
call
of
it
the snow.
David Plowy, then. The marvellous thing is the council, OK, they said this vote cheered the whole of Britain up.
Well, it hasn't cheered me up.
No, it doesn't. And the man from the council said it's got people interested in gritting.
Well, it just hasn't.
No, it hasn't. We would be interested in gritting, though, if we'd thought of a name.
Yeah, well, we'd just call it Gary Gritter, wouldn't we? Let's be honest.
Or maybe Ice-ish. That could work.
Yeah. Gary Gritter or Icish. Do we think those are better names? Oh, hang on. Adolf Gritler.
Perfect. Those are better
That's a
names.
good one.
We like that.
Yeah.
That works. That's good.
Which shall we have? Shall we go with Itsy Bitsy and the other one, or our names? Who wants our names? Hands up. Hands up. That
it.
was a vote, Doncaster.
Yep.
It's just what it's going to have to be.
Gary and Adolf the Gritter.
It was his. Right, the organisers of the Formula E motor racing series, which is like Formula One but for electric cars, they've recently staged a race between one of their cars and a cheetah. Now, we've got a shot from the video they took of it here. Now, let me ask you two a question, right? The cheetah's top speed is 70 miles an hour. The car's top speed is 140 miles an hour. So which one do you think won?
Was it the car?
Yes, it was.
Wow. So the mechanical device with a higher top speed beat the bewildered animal that didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Literally the most pointless race in history.
Yeah, it was basically an exercise in not running over a cheetah.
Do you know, I was following a pigeon the other day.
You what? What, is this a new job? You opened an agency? Jeremy Clarkson, PD, pigeon detective. It's going to be brilliant. Did its partner think it was cheating? Follow him.
No, I was just following...
Well, every time it stopped, did you have to read a newspaper like that? And then look for its reflection in the shop window?
I was merely following it
And
up
anyway, you should have just gone to Trafalgar Square. That's where they go.
I was merely driving up my drive, and a pigeon was flying along in front of me. And I clocked it, and it was doing 35 miles an hour.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, that's another animal that would lose a race against a Formula E car, then, because that does 140.
We should race it
Had
immediately.
nothing to do with running a private detective agency.
But you are running a private detective.
I was simply following a pigeon. It wasn't that interesting anyway. The essence of it is...
Did you follow it into a tree? Because that would have been really risky, wouldn't it? No, the essence of it is, so if your animal does less than 140 miles an hour, it will lose the race against the Formula E car. If it does more than 100... Well, no animal does more than 140, does it?
It does. Peregrine Falcon does.
Does
God,
it?
Does
what if you-
220.
What if you have to follow one of those? I can't take the case, I'm afraid. I'll need a new car.
Lamborghini has come up with a new 4x4. We've got a picture of it here. Amazing looking thing. Fabulous,
It does
actually.
look good, that.
Make no mistake about that. Twin-turbo V8, which will be an Audi or a Porsche engine. 641 horsepower. The only problem is they've called it the Urus, U-R-U-S, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds to me like another word for bumhole.
No, I mean, it's a bit medical
It
sense.
is. How's your Urus? It's a bit itchy, actually.
Mine's inflamed, I can't pee. It's one of those things, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's something
down there.
Exactly, down there. Sort of thing when you go to the doctor, he's, I'm going to check your Urus, and then he puts a
Oh,
glove
no,
on.
no, no.
Oh, he's snapping a glove
Yeah.
on. I don't want that. Anyway, so if you want one of those, there it is. Oh, can I just talk about the Ford F-150 pickup truck, OK? Now, How many do you think they sell in America?
I know it's a
of this?
lot, 'cause
a
that's-
lot. It's 2,500 a day.
Get sold.
A day. That's new F-150s.
huge numbers.
And Ford has decided, amazingly, they'd like to sell more, so they're about to introduce a hybrid version.
Really?
Yes, a hybrid F-150 pickup truck.
I can't imagine that F-150 owners are very interested in a I don't think they know what it is, actually,
No, they wouldn't.
do they?
You're dead right. They've actually done some research over there in America land, and it turns out that F-150 customers, when asked, list fuel consumption as the 28th most important thing in their buying
So
consideration.
there are 27 things they'd think about first on
Yeah,
a car.
27 more important things.
But what things?
I can't think of 27 things on a car.
Well, hold on. Looks. Cup holders, definitely.
That's a good one.
Yes. that
Power.
works. Power.
Price.
Size of the load bay thing at the back.
Yeah.
Weight.
What else is
Weight
more
it can carry.
important? Come. What? Gun rack.
Yeah, that's
Somewhere
right.
from the gun. 6, definitely gun rack.
If they're saying that fuel consumption doesn't matter, which is what those owners are saying, isn't
Yeah.
it? Why then are Ford making a hybrid at all? Why are they, Bob?
Ah, well, now.
No, they've got to. It's because the environmental rules that Obama brought in. All the
Yeah.
companies have to do a certain...
Yes, fair
But
enough.
Ford are saying the batteries that are part of the hybrid system, OK, they're not some communist plot to combat fake news, global warming. But that's to say, OK, it's got batteries in it, yes, but they are for charging up your mitre saw, cooling beer and running the coffee maker on a camping trip.
So the F-150 is a pickup for carrying a big battery to cool your beer.
And that, I think that is enough conversation for 1 week, don't you? So let's
More than.
move it on.
Yes.
I've got to say, we weren't joking there. He really did go and buy a farmhouse in southwest France. And actually, James and I wish we'd gone with him because that was hideously terrifying.
This is awful.
It really was.
Anyway, I have the numbers from the speed trap here. And Jeremy Clarkson,
Yeah.
you passed it at 89 miles an hour. Well done.
That is brave. That is brave. Is it really 89?
And then, James May,
32.
you passed it at 93 miles an hour. ladies and gentlemen. James May has won a thing.
I'm staggered, he
Won a
has.
thing.
And what you've proved is, by being so speedy, that modern cars are 4 miles an hour faster than they were 60 years ago.
Yeah. The thing is, though, you can't actually drive your cars on the road. can you?
Well, no, the Aston, I have to admit, at slow speed is very difficult. I mean, if you try and tickle it into gear, it just won't have it. The only language it understands is violence. You ram it in and then you're fine.
That's not what I was talking about. You're not actually allowed to drive your cars on the road, are you?
I did, because Aston registered that one as a prototype, so I could.
Yeah, it was a bit more complicated in the Jag because it was registered as a test car. So technically only a Jaguar employee can drive it.
So how did you?
I had to get a job with Jaguar.
Seriously?
Yeah, I now work for Jaguar, I did. But as my job is now done, Jaguar, I'm afraid I'll resign.
How will the news go down in Wall Street? when
It'll
they hear
affect
about
the
it?
share price. The
It
news will be
will.
Hammond rocks City with shock Jag move.
That could be the headline, or it could be hamster screws big cat.
That would do it. That would cover it.
Look, here is the truth of it.
Yeah.
If you went out and bought one of those cars, you wouldn't legally be allowed to drive it on the road, would you?
You wouldn't.
So you've actually wasted everybody's time, haven't you?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, a bit.
Right, moving on, because now it's time to order some donuts of debate from the Chat Cafe on Conversation Street. I was terrified.
Right, good. Now, you know the BMW Z4?
Yes.
The only car, incidentally, designed on the interior and the exterior by women, OK? Well, they're dropping it and replacing it with this. This has been designed by a man, so...
And where are you going with this one, Jeremy?
So it won't be able to take its jumper off by folding its arms.
What?
What are you on about?
Men can't take their jumpers off like women do. They're crossing their arms.
What?
I can do that.
You're not a man.
Oh, right.
I take my jumper off. That's how you take a jumper off, like that.
How do you know? You just wait for the paramedics to come along, cut it off after your accident.
That's how you take a jumper off. I don't know what you're talking about.
Take your jumper off. Just take your jumper off.
Can't
Watch this.
strip
How do
members
you
of-
take it off? There you see, like a man.
He was
When you
about
women
to
want to
do
take their oh no, we can't do that. Seriously, do women, you know what I'm on about? Women cross. If I tried to do that, I'd dislocate my shoulder.
Thank you for that nonsense, Jeremy. Can we maybe get back to the BMW now, which is a car?
Yes, it is. Now, I have to say, the old one was never as good to drive as it was to look at.
No, I know what you mean.
No, it wasn't. It was sort of baggy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was never an M version. You know, it was all just like unexciting. But I'm hoping this new one is as good to drive as it looks, and it does look very good, even though it will struggle in its jumper.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if I was looking for a new BMW Z4, actually, I'd have one of these, because this is the new Toyota Supra. I know, it looks phenomenal. And that underneath is basically a Z4, same engine and everything.
Same chassis. I mean, it is a Z4, but with that body. And that body, I have to say, looks amazing. And do you know the most amazing thing is? They're talking about a price between 40 and 60,000, which is much less than it looks like.
See, I think that is actually filling a gap in the market. There is a need right now for a mid-price sports car, because there really aren't many, if any.
There's the Audi TT-RS.
Yeah, well, that'll definitely take his jumper off like that, won't it? And then stow it in the overhead lockers. Tell you where the doors are.
Now, Volkswagen's US head of regulation, that was his job title, a guy called Oliver Schmidt. Yes. He's just been done for his part in Dieselgate, OK? And they've given him 7 years in jail. Or, as he would put it, 4.2 years.
And a fine of £400,000 or wherever that translates into VW money. I don't know.
270,000.
Yeah,
No, I'll tell you, the fascinating thing is there was a warrant out for his arrest, OK, in America, but he was in Germany. And then, for some reason, he decided to take his annual holiday in Florida and got arrested at the airport. Oh, nines!
Why did he do that?
Because he's a moron.
Oh, yeah.
He must be. He must be. The only thing I think of is that Volkswagen needed someone to do some jail time for what had happened.
Yeah, what, and he volunteered to do it?
No, I reckon they probably said, I was the employee of the month, Mr. Schmidt, and you have won a fortnight's holiday at Disney World.
Thank you.
Off he tumbles. Oh, no, they have arrested me.
That's actually a 7-year holiday you've got there, Mr. Smith, and the catering is terrible.
Now, do you remember the Rimac we had in programme 1 of this season? There it is.
Yep.
Yep. Well, they've announced there is a new one coming out.
Well, what happened to that one?
Well, no, that was called the Concept 1. They only made 8 of those, actually.
How many are left?
7. Shut up.
What happened to the other one, Hammond?
Just stop saying things. The new one is going to be called the Concept 2, and amazingly, they're saying it's going to be even faster. And that was blindingly
I actually don't believe that you could make a car go fast.
Well, they say it's going to be fast, and it's a bit bigger inside. There'll be more
Which you
room.
did need, because that one was quite cramped.
You can fit in this one.
I could fit in the last one. You'd be less like Spam, though, if you rolled it over and over and over.
It should be more dangerous, you're right.
We've actually got a picture of the new Concept 2. Here it is, Hammond. You'll like this.
Oh, God, come on.
Oh, now there's a new McLaren, OK? I've got a picture of it here. This is staggering, OK? I've got some of the details. It's their new flagship. Kind of replaces the P1. Super hardcore, 789 horsepower. Mentalist, that thing. And they've called it, and this is a tremendous name, I think, they've called it the Senna.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that is a really cool name for a car like that.
I'm glad they didn't call it the Mansell.
No, less cool.
Oh, with its droning engine note, and it would have a stupid moustache above its number plate. Oh. And if it were a convertible, a tweed roof.
McLaren Hunt could work, because he was quite cool.
Terrible thirst, though, it would have.
Yeah, lot of smoke coming out. Every now and again, it would try and mount another car.
Yeah.
So it would be cool.
On balance, I think Senna's probably the best name they could have come up with. Right, now, what else? What more conversation have you got?
I have some conversation for you.
You have some conversation?
I do, yes, because, you know, last week you were talking about how you ended up following a pigeon. How fast did you reckon it was going?
35?
35, I think you said. The other day, I was going down a country lane and I ended up following a blackbird, and that only does 28. And that's interesting, because that means a blackbird in level flight is slower than a pigeon.
What is wrong with you two? Why are you following birds? Why not follow Russian spies or straying husbands or something?
Listen, Hammond, pay attention.
Oh, God.
I did some research on this. You know the top speed of a pigeon, if it really puts its foot down, is 90 in level flight. 90 miles an hour. I know.
Now, that is amazing, Hammond, because you wouldn't think a pigeon's wings could shift enough air.
No, I
to
wouldn't
make it
think about it.
No, stop it. You say that. A hummingbird can fly faster than a goose.
Can it?
No, it's like that.
Nobody cares.
They do.
Stop ranking birds.
What?
Rank.
Anyway, I think that the top speed of birds is a new hit show. And you and I can host it, and you'll end up as Buttons in Panto in Swindon. And then you'll shoot yourself in a room in a Premier Inn one night.
Yeah.
There'll only be one police car outside,
Yeah.
and it'll be a Vauxhall Astra. That's your future. Anyway, that is enough Conversation Street this week, so let's move it on. Thank you very much. You see, us three agree on, well, almost nothing, really, but we do agree that all medium-sized SUVs are dreary and drab and rubbish.
Yes, but, and we were talking about this the other day, they are incredibly popular, and we were arguing over which ones we'd buy if we absolutely had to.
Yeah, and needless to say, we couldn't agree.
No, it got quite heated.
It did get very heated indeed, so we decided we should settle it by taking the Grand Tour this week to Canada.
No, we didn't.
This was the meeting point we chose. The Area 27 racetrack. It was designed by F1 star Jacques Villeneuve. And it's a bit of a hidden gem. And I'd be driving round it in this, the new Alfa Romeo Stelvio. There is no way in hell that I would buy one of these, because the saloon on which it's based is faster, cheaper, more economical and nicer to drive. But if I had to have an SUV, this is what I'd choose. At this point, May arrived in the supercharged V6 Range Rover Velour. Well, you've done that wrong.
No, I haven't. Look, in the first season of the Grand Tour, we did a big test of 3 large off-roaders.
Yep.
You had a Range Rover, and you went, you'd be mad not to have a Range Rover. The Range Rover's literally the best, so you can't now stand there and say that it isn't.
What I meant when I said you'd got it wrong, well, I meant 2 things. 1, you picked the wrong one, you should have had an Alfa. And 2, it's the wrong colour. I saw one of those in London the other day, and it was silver, and it's one of the best-looking cars I've ever seen.
It is a very good-looking car, yes, I agree.
Really good-looking. That's just hideous. That looks like it's got a glove box full of K and MDF and...
What, building materials?
No, not MDF. What do I mean? What is it? I'm gonna... MDMA. Director knew that, weirdly.
Anyway, never mind that. What that is a Range Rover that sits between the Evoque
Yes.
and the Range Rover Sport.
I thought the Disco sat there.
No, that sits over to one side.
No, the Discovery Sport sits between the Evoque and the Range Rover. No, wait.
No, the Discovery Sport...
No, hang on, you've got Evoque.
Yes. Discovery Sport off to one side.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Why is it?
Because that's the serious off-roady bit, not the
It's
luxury
not
off-roady
serious.
bit.
Before we had a chance to get to the bottom of Land Rover's very complicated lineup, Richard Hammond arrived in a Porsche Macan.
Wow, Hammond, that is modern.
Yeah, that's where you're wrong.
He's making a habit of that.
This is the new Porsche Macan Turbo Performance Pack. You get 40 horsepower more than the standard turbo, so it makes 434 of them in total.
I'm sorry, 434?
Yeah, in there, yes.
And you managed to make it move?
Why?
505.
Italian horses. Which, let's face it, a flock of Italian horses could go from Shire to Shetland. These are German horses. They're
How many talks?
442.
443.
All right, one more.
Well, it's too many for a car on stilts.
It isn't.
It's very
look
high,
at
that, isn't it?
What do you mean? Of course it's high.
It looks like somebody startled it.
It's an SUV. It's got...
At this point, we decided to get on with testing the S part of our SUVs, the sporty bit. We began by sending a BMW M3 Sports Saloon round the track to get a benchmark time.
It's a really, really good racetrack.
Good racetrack is like saying fun fair. It's just a contradiction.
James, I think most of our viewers would disagree with you on that.
I don't know.
Here it comes, here it comes.
Here it is, and 2 minutes, 26 seconds, and James May will now fail to match that in his Range Rover Velour. James was soon ready to go, but there was a problem. Can you hear me in the BMW? Could we have the brown BMW get off the track?
It's saying the key isn't in the car.
Well, how did he do a lap?
Because if it was keyless, if somebody got out with the key and it was running...
No, because
it
they
won't
stop.
No, they don't.
What?
Because they don't, because otherwise it would just stop on the motorway. What they won't do is restart.
All the while this is going on, I'm forgetting the track. You go down here and you go left, and then it's a fog.
Who has the key? Come on, one of you has been near the BMW. Where's the key? Have you checked your pockets? With the key nowhere to be found, there was only one solution. Ditch the health and safety, and get on with it anyway. BMW, 2 minutes 26. Range Rover, 3 minutes 2. Porsche, 2:46. You're only 20 seconds slower than the M3. Alfa Romeo, 2:40.
240. Ooh.
6 seconds faster than the Porsche Turbo, which proves conclusively that the most sporty of 3 completely unsporty vehicles
Yes.
is the Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
Right. Onwards to the next part of our test, which was to find out how utilitarian they are. We're going to do this by seeing which one of us can get the most amount of dogs in the boot of our car. Hammond, you idiot.
What?
What are they?
If you say dog in Canada, these are what you get. Newfoundlands.
Hammond, they're enormous.
They're not dogs, they're cattle.
Yeah.
They're having sex
There's
behind
dog
you.
sex. There's actual dog sex going on. Dog sex.
Maybe we should look away
don't need
from
to
that.
see this. In a brief break from the mating, we got on with the test. Up we go. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Up in the car. Well, it's a new Range Rover. Come on, dog.
Right. There's... No. No.
Up we go. In we go.
The dog has never been in a car and doesn't want to go in one.
Right. Sit. Getting another dog.
Dog beer.
Ow. Yes. Stay.
The Alfa Romeo, not only the sportiest vehicle, but as you can see, perfectly capable of handling a brace of dogs. Oh. Yeah, the problem is, you know electric tailgates?
If they sense anything, they'll open.
Yes, that's what's... So it can't actually close.
It's not going to stay in, is it? Oh! Biggest dog here is in.
Yes, but you try closing... OK, then close your boot lid. Go on, then. You see, it won't close because it's electric. What we've established, then, so far, is that these cars are nowhere near as fast as an ordinary car around a racetrack, that you cannot put a medium-sized dog in them because of the electric tailgate, and you'll damage them because they've all got painted rear ends and carpeted boot floors.
And that concludes another important test. I'm sorry.
And with that test completed, it was time for our conclusion.
We've proved that SUVs are no good at sport or utility stuff, and that if you want a vehicle, you're better off with a horse.
And with that, back to the tent.
It was important work. Thing is, we thought that we'd finished at that point, but Mr. Willman had other ideas, so we're going to be picking that up later on.
Yes, we shall. However, now it's time to step in a dog turd of chat on Conversation Street.
Ow! 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 Ow!
What a good day, that.
Now, I want to stick, if I may, for a minute or two on SUVs, because 25% of all new cars sold in Britain these days are SUVs. And the thing is, I was working out the other day why so many people buy them. And I've worked it out. See, if you're in a hatchback or a saloon and you see an SUV which is much larger coming towards you, you think, if we have an accident, I'm going to come off worse. So I'd better have one too. They're like nuclear weapons. Once one person's got one, everyone's got to have one. Next thing you know, Kim Jong-un's gone one, and then it's all a disaster.
But the fact remains, everybody has them or not, they are really silly. The moment we asked that Alfa and the Porsche to do a tiny bit of off-roading in that horse arena, they just panicked and gave up, went into limp home mode.
I know.
I actually think they might have too much electronic stuff on
Well, they do.
those cars.
They do. I mean, the four-wheel drive system's all idiotic. And then the handbrake, that doesn't work.
No.
And the tailgates. I mean, how do you actually load a dog into a car?
I don't know. How do you... I mean, you can't...
If you put your hand in to hold the dog back, then it's going to detect your arm.
Yes.
So then you'd have to go round and hold the dog against the seat.
But then you can't close the boot, you're not...
Well, I know, and also, while you're walking round, the dog's left on its own in a boot with an open tailgate.
Because what you're doing is asking a dog to stay alone in a room that's getting smaller. It's not going to do it. It's going to run away.
There is no solution to this that I can think of.
No, there is a way to do it. You'd have to put your dog in the boot, shoot it with a tranquiliser dart so that it went out for a bit.
Well, yes, James, you could do that. Or you could buy a car with a manually closing boot lid.
Yeah, which would be cheaper, lighter, faster and easier.
Right, so that's covered that. Don't buy SUVs. They're stupid. But we have got more on them later on.
I've got a bit of conversation.
Is it about iambic pentameters?
No.
Is it about the Embraer 190?
No.
Is it about plywood?
No.
What is it about?
It's about vans.
Is it?
Yes, because I borrowed a transit van the other day, and the amazing thing about it is it's got all the equipment you'd expect on a well-posh car, including those sensing headlights that dip automatically. So when they see lights coming the other way, they automatically dip, but they also dip if they see a reflective road sign.
Oh, I know. That's unbelievable when that happens, because it blinds you, because they've dipped, and now you can't see where you're going. As you approach a sign warning you of a hazard ahead, which you then can't see. No, they are stupid.
Here comes a really dangerous right-hand bend. I'll just turn the lights off so you can't see it.
They do that.
But apart from that, I have to say, the Ford Transit van, long wheelbase, is absolutely brilliant. Much better than any SUV, and half the price. And the amazing thing is, you can get absolutely tons in the back of it.
Well,
I mean, just...
Yeah, James,
What?
it's a van.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what it's for.
The one problem with it I found, is that when you load a van, you have to get out. You don't step out. You sort of do a little jump so that you look
No,
cool.
I don't do a little jump.
I don't think you have to.
You do a little jump, but what I didn't think of was that I had my big Parker on that I've got on in that film, and as I jumped out, the hood caught on something on the roof, and I actually hanged myself pretty much as I...
If you actually had hung yourself, we'd have put out a press release saying that you died in an autoerotic accident.
Yeah, we will.
Did you have an orange in your mouth?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you would have done our version of events, mate, definitely.
You'd have been wearing a fur-lined anorak and nothing else when you were found by police. But you wish you hadn't started that conversation now.
Now, we get quite a few letters asking us why we never review anything made by Tesla.
Very simple, actually. Many years ago, I gave a firm but fair review to the Roadster, picture of that one there.
Yeah, and Tesla sued.
Yes, they did, and they lost. And then they appealed, and they lost that, which is all fine, but being sued is a massive pain in the arse. It keeps you awake at night, really stressy. So I thought, I will never, ever review another Tesla as long as I live. I shall simply ignore them.
However, Tesla is on the brink of becoming a mainstream manufacturer. They reckon that by the end of this year, they'll be bigger than Volvo.
So I couldn't really ignore them anymore, which is why I decided to test the new Model X, OK? Because I thought this might actually be an SUV we all like. Thing is, though, is that an SUV that we all like?
Well, not at that price.
No, 156 is silly.
I do love some of the gimmicks, though.
Yeah, now on that, I have to say, you know the summons facility it's got on it, OK? That didn't always work. And then there was the business on the motorway where it checks for fast traffic coming up behind before moving lanes.
How'd you find that?
Well, I can't say. So I got a lawyer to write this for me.
Really?
It's my honest belief that a driverless system does not always behave as you'd expect, and when it doesn't, it can be discomforting.
Discomforting.
However, I acknowledge and accept that a number of external factors can reasonably result in a driverless car's decision to deactivate self-driving, including, but not limited to, other cars on the road unexpectedly accelerating.
So?
No.
What?
No, just... For the avoidance of any doubt, these personal observations about driverless cars are my honest opinion and should not be regarded as any statement about the general safety, roadworthiness or mechanical effectiveness of this specific car or any other Tesla vehicle.
It is bloody fast, though, isn't it?
Really it was, yes. We actually put it round the Ebolodrome. It did a 1:29.6, which is the same as a 5-litre Mustang.
It's quick.
It is quick. But anyway, we must park the Tesla now.
What that film proves is that if you want to buy a Range Rover Velar or a Stelvio or a Macan, you're better off with a Ford Raptor.
Yeah, not only that, the Raptor is actually, near as damn it, half the price of those
Yes,
other SUVs.
but you can't buy a Raptor in Britain. Welcome! Now, a couple of months ago, we were sitting around wondering what we should do for this, the last programme in the series.
Yeah, I said we should build a car that's also an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I wanted to fire a car into space.
But then we decided that what we should actually do, because neither of those things were ambitious enough, was end world hunger.
Yeah, it's a big job.
Yeah, it's not the sort of thing that we could achieve in 20 minutes with a couple of guests and a bit of idle chit-chat in between.
No, we were going to need the whole show. So settle back now as we take the Grand Tour on a mini-special to the poverty-stricken but beautiful country of Mozambique.
This is the village of Bingo in the west of the country. The people here are not starving, but they are very poor. Jesus here has to exist on a diet of miserable gruel, which is fine for silly rich women in London and New York. But food like this makes the average red-blooded African man very sad. And that's odd, because just 200 miles away, things are very different. This is Mozambique's capital city, Maputo. And the people here are well-nourished and happy because they live by the ocean, which is full of fish.
Well, that got us wondering, how hard can it be to get the fish from here to that village we were looking at earlier?
Yeah, now this isn't a very wealthy country. In fact, it's a poor country, isn't it?
Desperately poor.
Desperately poor. So they don't have refrigerated trucks, all that kind of stuff.
No, but we're talking about 200 miles. That's London to Leeds, isn't it? It's nothing to get this there.
I'm telling you, when we get this sorted out, when we move these fish to Bingo, there'll be Nobel Prizes in it for us.
And I'd be Boutros, mate.
Yes.
And I'll be Banky Hammond.
Oh, Banky. Yeah.
I'm going to go for a knighthood.
Do it. Why not?
Beat David Beckham.
I think I done well.
Unfortunately, having agreed that we would end world hunger by moving fish across Mozambique, we couldn't agree on how this might be achieved. So we ended up with different solutions. This is what I came up with, a 1984 Mercedes wagon. A car famous throughout Africa for its rugged dependability. However, I have modified it extensively. In the back, filling up all of the back, is a Perspex tank. What I'm going to do is fill that with seawater and then put the fishes in there, and they will stay alive as I make my way inland. Now, you can't get fish fresher than fishes that are still swimming around in the sea. I have been clever. Very clever.
Not as clever as me, because for the first time in my entire life, I've made a sensible decision. Gone for this. It's a pickup truck that Nissan named after me. It's called the Hardbody. It's got tons of space in the back for cod and bream and sticklebacks. And it has four-wheel drive, which I reckon is going to be essential because, and James hasn't realised this, it's the rainy season in Mozambique, so I reckon the roads are going to be hell.
Hammond, meanwhile, hadn't been clever at all.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's a motorcycle.
Yes, it is. Specifically, it's a TVS Star HLX E5, and I've just bought this brand new from a supermarket for 800 quid. Brand spankers.
Hammond, this is not a quality item.
Well, no, it's built down to a budget, isn't it? You can feel that.
Is it 1000cc?
No, 100.
What?
100cc.
How many cylinders? 4?
One.
One.
That one.
So how much horsepower has it got?
7.
7?
7. But it's light, it's agile. These things are actually built in India specifically to be used in Africa. They are. They're built in India specifically for use in Africa.
It's too poor to be used in India.
I can see why the Indians don't want it.
It's rugged, it's tough, it can go off-road if we need to. It can do anything.
Yeah, but what it can't do, Hammond, is transport a large amount of fish.
Exactly what I was thinking. If I wanted a pizza delivery, this is the sort of thing, a motorcycle.
I thought about this. Let me explain my idea. This is ingenious. What they do here, right, they dry the fish in the wind like that because it lasts longer.
Is that fish?
That's fish drying in the wind. So what I'm going to do is
That looks like cats.
No, it's fish. I'm going to build a rack like that, fit it to the back of my bike, and then I'll dry the fish as I go along. It's brilliant.
That is literally the stupidest idea I've ever heard of.
Well, what are you going to do? Sling your fish in the back of your pickup and watch them rot?
No, actually, I have a plan on that, but I do need your help.
Having finally got fed up with him, Hammond and I decided to get radical. So that night, as James slept, we modified his car slightly. This made James very unpleased.
You bastards! I hate you! Both of you! You utter bastards!
Listen, I am prepared to tow your boot full of water. That's important. I'm not going to tow a dead engine that's full of water as well. That's just a waste of fuel.
Rubbish, it wasn't dead. I could have mended that once we dragged it out. It's just ignition. I've done it 5 times already. You complete moron.
I hope you get Bill Hartsier of the ball sack.
Right, that's it. He's asked for it.
Funny, very funny.
Funny man.
I think you're following him too closely.
Why don't you sod off?
Has it affected the handling?
What was that?
Fearful that James was about to catch cancer from my coal rolling, I invited him to enter my hard body. And was he grateful? No.
The ride in this thing is appalling. Why is it so bad?
So if an ambulance came to rescue you, would you complain about the quality of the ambulance?
No,
Well, why are you complaining about everything I've done for you?
because you're rescuing me from effective injury that you inflicted. I'd still complain about the man who mugged me if he then said, "Oh, I'll help you up, mate." I'd still complain.
Let's be brutally honest, shall we? Your car's been a terrible nuisance all the way along.
Not to me.
It has to me because I've had to wait for it for days.
You're so noble, I won't forget to mention you in my speech.
You're not going to
But
get.
I might.
You're not getting a Nobel Prize
Why not?
because you're ending with 3/4 of a car.
That doesn't, you don't get the prize for how much car you bring, you get the prize for bringing the fish. Don't forget you're towing my fish, i.e. the fish that are still edible.
Mine are
Right?
edible.
No, they're not.
They are. They're
I can assure you they're not.
I think if we're going to be sensible, what we should have done is had a pickup truck with an aquarium in the back.
We sort of have now.
That motorcycle has been remarkable. Is it 800 quid from a supermarket?
Yeah.
I know Hammond's been obsessing about how he doesn't look like Ewan McGregor in The Long Way Down, but to me he does, because it's a motorcycle and they're all exactly the same in my mind.
We could make a film of all of his crashes and call it Wrong Way Up.
I've got to tell you one thing. You know, normally, people from television or film or whatever come out to Africa to do charitable work. They're photographed by Hello magazine, and then it's back to the hotel, Chateauneuf-du-Pape, fly home to get the OBE.
Right.
They don't actually do what we've done, do they?
No, I don't think so.
I've never seen Victoria Beckham trying to pull half a Mercedes across Mozambique. Bingo! There it is, our quest is at an end. And then, with not a single fish given away, but the pictures taken, there was only one thing left to do. Chaps, let's get the helicopter.